actively recruiting you.
Good morning. Welcome to the March 3rd meeting of the Board of Calvert County Commissioners. We're going to start our meeting off with an invocation. With us this morning, we have Pastor Reverend Jones of Mount Olive United Methodist Church. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Let us pray. Loving and gracious Creator, we come this morning first to say thank you. Thank you for life. And as we come from this rushed and hurried world, we come just to reflect upon your goodness in our lives and upon what you will provide for us in the future. Today, we ask your blessings upon this body, that as they deliberate, that they may do so with wisdom from above, with discernment that allows them to block out the noise, to hear the facts, and to lead and to govern in ways that will enable generations to come to realize that men and women sat in those seats and made decisions that impacted generations to come. God, we ask you to bless this nation, bless this state, bless our armed forces and all those who are serving as we are grappling with this conflict of war. God, be with us, forever keep us, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Jones, thank you for joining us this morning, sir. Do you have any events coming up at your church you would like to talk about? Or?
No, we're good.
Okay. Figured I'd give you the opportunity. Thank you, sir. That takes us to the approval of the agenda.
I move that we move consent agenda number 3, Department of Finance and Budget, facilities budget adjustment to new business item 3, and add presentation item number 2 to include a briefing from a potential data center project, and approve and adopt the amended agenda as further amended.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Discussion?
None.
So I just want to take a moment. There was a lot of chatter on social media yesterday about data centers, and we want to try to clarify some of that. So the agenda item that was added in order to meet the Open Meetings Act, we didn't get confirmation until less than a 24-hour notice that's required to be able to change the agenda without doing it here. So it was probably 6 o'clock last night that we actually got that confirmation, so that's why that exists. Public service announcement. Oh, I'm sorry. I was ahead of myself. Mm-hmm. So all in favor of approving the agenda with the changes made, I'll say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. All right. Takes us to public service announcements. The first thing we'll talk about is the whole blood field transfusion program. Calvert County's participation in the lower Teeter Type O positive whole blood field transfusion program in partnership with Public Safety's Emergency Medical Services Division and Calvert Advanced Life Support. Development of this program was accelerated following an incident in 2022 in which Deputy James Flint sustained a gunshot wound while pursuing a suspect. Flint received life-saving blood. After arriving at Calvert Health Medical Center without the availability of whole blood at the hospital, he likely would not have survived. With this initiative, Calvert County becomes the 5th pre-hospital EMS agency in Maryland and the 270th nationwide authorized to administer whole blood in the pre-hospital setting. The program allows specially trained EMS clinicians to administer FDA-approved whole blood to critically injured or ill patients before they arrive at the hospital, dramatically improving survival rates. To commemorate the program's launch, a blood drive in honor of hometown hero Flint will be held in partnership with Inova on Wednesday, March 11th, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Department of Public Safety at 110 Main Street. If you're able to give blood, folks, please. It can't go for a better cause. And there have been several, at least 2 incidents. Is it more than 2 or just 2? At least 2 incidents recently where this whole blood program probably saved lives in this county. Had they not had that on board, the EMS, we probably wouldn't have at least 2 citizens that wouldn't be here with us. There's also an informational session on permitting process on Monday, March 9th at 6 p.m. at the Calvert County Administration Building. An informational session will be held on the county's residential permitting process and recent system upgrades. There will be 1 presentation with representatives from Planning and Zoning, Public Works, Environmental Health, and Soil Conservation. The session is designed to help residents understand the permitting process and the new improvements to streamline it. The session is purely informational, is not a public hearing. Residents may submit questions, but there is no public comment period. Questions may be submitted in advance online at www.calvertmd.gov. Submit permit questions with representatives at the session. Questions not answered at the session will be answered online afterwards. It's important to note Commissioner Cox couldn't be here today. He had a recertification class, and Commissioner Hart was also unable to attend.
Sir, I just wanted to let you know Mr. Hart is on his way in.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm sorry. Oh, yes, most important thing for our announcements, not the most important thing, but we have been talking about the therapeutic duck race that Parks and Rec did, and during that they sold T-shirts, they sold ducks. Anyhow, they raised over $8,000 for therapeutic recreation for summer camps is primarily where that money goes. So congratulations, Parks and Rec and the entire team to put that on in our aquatic center. Thank you. So that takes us to proclamation. Commissioner Hance? Our first proclamation is on National Senior Nutrition Program.
So good morning. If Commissioner Hart were here, he would say I'm doing this because I'm the oldest one here. At least I'm here. So, Ed?
Good morning, Commissioners. Commissioner Hance, good morning. Commissioner Ireland, Commissioner Grasso, good morning. Honor to be with you this morning for National Nutrition Month. If appropriate with you at first, I think it's appropriate, if okay with you, that we ask our volunteer Meals on Wheels drivers to come up and be recognized. We'd love to do that. I'm going to ask our Meals on Wheels drivers who are in attendance, and a few of them are, to please come up and just give their name, and we want to recognize them. And then also a few Office on Aging staff and a representative from the Maryland Department of Aging. And we want to thank you for your support of the meal program in Calvert County at our 3 senior centers, and we're so appreciative of it. But if the Meals on Wheels drivers could come up now, we'd appreciate that. Please come up and give your name, and we're thankful you're here.
Good morning. My name's Julia McWilliams, and I've been with Meals on Wheels for 6 years.
Wonderful. Come on up.
Got it? Got it. My name is Barbara Bone, and I've been with Meals on Wheels probably about 3 or 4 years.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Miller. I've been with Meals on Wheels for about a year, maybe 2.
Good morning. My name is Debbie Funchen. I've been with Meals on Wheels for about 2 years.
I'm Susan Hurd. I've been with the program for about 2 years. I work with Huntingtown and the newly established Northern Sea Route in Chesapeake Beach. And I work with the wonderful Sheila and Christy back there quite a bit.
Good morning. My name is Naida Saunders. I've been working with Meals on Wheels for about 3 years now.
Good morning. My name is Haley, and I've been doing with Meals on Wheels for 3 years.
My name is Alan King, and I've been working with Meals on Wheels for about 4 years now.
And Commissioners, we do have a few staff members here that also work in the program.
Good morning. Christy Owen, Aging Service Program Manager for Calvert County Office on Aging.
Good morning. Sheila Gallagher, Registered Dietitian, Office on Aging.
And we're honored to have Leslie Smith-Ray with us from the Maryland Department of Aging. Leslie, please.
Good morning, Commissioners and everyone here at Calvert County. I would just say on behalf of Maryland Department of Aging, kudos, 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 and applause for recognizing this. Food insecurity in Maryland is a top priority. And being here in Calvert County and seeing what you guys are doing to recognize it, because awareness is the answer. So we really applaud you, and thanks for handing out this proclamation today, and I was glad and honored to be here.
So first of all, I want to thank all of you wonderful volunteers. You know, we all talk about how great, how great Calvert County is, and it's because of people like you. They serve all these thousands of meals every year to these people that are homebound, can't get out. Sometimes it's their only source of food is what you bring to them. And it doesn't matter the weather, snow, sleet. It's like the old mail, what was the old mail adage? Snow, sleet, rain, nothing will keep. Well, you all are better than the mail system because you are so committed and dedicated to these individuals. And without you, you know, they just couldn't survive. So we appreciate you volunteering your time and your services to this county and helping our seniors make their life as comfortable as possible for those that can't do better. So, and I know we have a lot more drivers that aren't here today, but how many total drivers do we have? 110 people that give up their time every day, all year long, to provide meals to homebound people. So that's quite an accomplishment. I want to thank staff for organizing and coordinating, because it doesn't just happen. You know, somebody's got to make sure everything is ready to go and keep the list up to date. And you can always call and sign up to get on the list, correct? And I want to thank all of you for taking that effort. So I have a little proclamation to read. Whereas, since 1972, the National Senior Nutrition Program has funded local agencies and organizations to serve home-delivered and congregate meals that help to ensure older adults have opportunities to stay healthy, independent, and connected. And whereas more than 10 million older Americans face hunger each year, and local senior nutrition programs help older adults access healthy foods, provide nutrition screenings, education and counseling, create social opportunities, and offer other supports that encourage well-being. And that reminds me, it's not just the food. Some of these people don't get out of their house. It's the only opportunity they have to visit with somebody, and you all don't just drop the food at the door. You actually go in and have a conversation and make these people feel like somebody is listening and caring to them. So we want to thank you for that too. Whereas the Calvert County Office on Aging is an integral part of Calvert County by providing sustenance and so much more to our older citizens, especially those most vulnerable to social isolation, chronic disease, and other health challenges. And whereas the Calvert County Office on Aging and Calvert Meals on Wheels makes a positive impact on our community and its senior members, as demonstrated by serving 40,755 meals to Calvert County older adults during 2025. That's just incredible to me. Thank you all so much for that. An average of 3,396 meals monthly. A total of 1,182 senior citizens benefited from this important service. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Calvert County that March 26th, it be observed as the 54th anniversary of the National Senior Nutrition Program. Be it further proclaimed that by this action, the Board of County Commissioners commends all those committed to providing support to our older adults through nutrition services, ensuring they continue to thrive and remain essential contributors to the strength and vitality of our community. Given our hands and seals this third day of March 2026, signed by all 5 commissioners.
Oh, well, okay.
We have, can you turn your ID on? Okay, I'm going to squish in a little bit, recording, thank you. All right, excellent. 3, 2, 1. Smile, please. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Mike.
Get the fire out.
It's working. It's working.
One motion.
Okay, so a couple times a year, we convene as the Board of Health, so we need a motion to do that today.
Okay. I move to recess the meeting of the Board of County Commissioners and convene a meeting as the Calvert County Board of Health.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to reconvene as the Calvert County Board of Health. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. Moreland? Dr. Moore?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Jennifer Moreland, Director of Community Resources. I'm so pleased to be joined today by Dr. Tanisa Mora, who's going to be doing a presentation on destination wellness, and Miko Robinson, who's here, who is leading that program and does a tremendous job. And we're a big fan of this program, our department is. So take it away. And then I'll just make sure. Oh, got it.
Good morning, members of the Board of Health. Yeah, it's a privilege to be able to make this presentation today. And, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to speak about this important health department program that's making a difference in the lives of individuals who are frequently using the emergency department for their complex care. And as Ms. Moreland said earlier, I'm joined today by Ms. Mika Blizzard. She is the program manager of this program. She's also the nursing supervisor who oversees the team that's executing the program. In the audience, we also have Ms. Daisy Lucas, Director of Nursing and Community Health, and under which the program oversight is occurring.
Welcome.
I just wanted to make sure that you can see the presentation deck there. So the purpose of this presentation today is to provide the Board of Health an overview of the Destination Wellness Program and all of the positive impact that it's making to the community, as well as a brief discussion on our future initiatives. Next slide. Let me begin with a little bit of background about how we came up with this program. So patients who lack consistent access to primary care, or patients who have complex medical problems but don't have the resources to help themselves take care of it, frequently turn to the emergency department for their care. And that is actually an expensive type of ordeal, and as you can see a little bit later. So these individuals are referred to as the high utilizers. And the cost of high utilization is high. It increases medical costs for the hospital as well as for the community. I think, or more importantly, or even as importantly, that the high utilizers also draw attention and time away from the hospital providers and the emergency department providers who could be dedicating that time more carefully to all the individuals that are truly, requiring emergency care. And so high utilization, or the high utilizers, typically use the emergency department services 5 times or more in a given year. And although a very small portion of them make up the patient population, only 4 to 9% of those patients in the ED, they can account for up to 28% of those visits to the emergency department. And frequently, they have complex medical needs. They may have a chronic illness, or they may have a chronic medical condition that is also compounded by other non-medical issues, including what are called social determinants of health. And those are the status of their housing, their access to food, healthy foods, their access to utilities that can help them function, and also either access to transportation that takes them to their medical appointments or address other needs. And sometimes they lack the social support that allows them to really function at 100%. And as you can see there in the bottom of this slide, the cost can be enormous for a hospital. The annual cost of caring for high utilizers can be, on average, $1.4 million per year per hospital. And that's based on data from the Millman's Value-Based Care Insights from the 2024-2025 time period. And according to that publication, the reports also state that up to 36% of those emergency department visits are completely preventable or avoidable. Next slide. And so Calvert Health recognized this issue and this problem in the past. And so in 2025, they launched initiatives to try to reduce the number of preventable visits to their emergency department. And they did this by really collaborating with multiple partners, including Emergency Medical Services, the Calvert County Health Department, local Behavioral Health Authority, as well as the Office on Aging and primary care practices and skilled nursing facilities. So their plan was really to come up with a solution to resolve this ongoing community issue. And in 2025, or July 2025, the Calvert County Health Department established the Destination Wellness Program to really assist in solving this problem for the community, for our healthcare providers, and for the hospital. And Destination Wellness Program executes the activities that we do really in collaboration with Calvert Health, primary care practices in the community, and our multiple partners. Next slide. So the Destination Wellness Program, and I'll call that DW in short, is a program that provides care coordination, case management, and care navigation to the people who are enrolled in this program. And I would say the primary aim is really to help improve health outcomes for the individuals that are involved here. And it begins with the identification of high utilizers. So we depend on the emergency department and the emergency medical services to refer these high utilizers to the Destination Wellness Program. Once a referral is made, our staff makes an assessment, asks for permission from that particular patient, to be enrolled. And if that patient agrees to be enrolled into our program, then a social determinant of health screening is conducted by our team. And that really is a process in which they really talk to the patient to identify whether there are housing issues that are ongoing, if they have any issues with utilities, if they are having transportation barriers that are keeping them from going to appointments, if they have any chronic illness, either diabetes that requires care but is out of control because they can't get to their primary care provider. And they also look at other issues that are beyond what is listed here. And what they really do is provide a patient-centered care, puts the patient at the center of their effort, and provides a care plan. Once they identify all the issues that are ongoing, then they formulate a care plan for each individual patient, so that each of those items that are identified are carefully managed. If referrals are required immediately, they make those referrals to multiple areas. And they also follow the patient over time. So they don't just put the referral in place and then leave them. So they actually provide support. They're there and they're available for questions that an individual patient may have. And so I think it is really, I'd say it's a golden program because it provides the support that the patient population truly needs. And the main goal of the program is to help each patient achieve what's called independence and empowerment to care for themselves and care for their own health and wellness. What you see here is a mobile van. Sometimes they utilize, or the team utilizes the van to get to the patients if the patient has transportation barriers. And the team consists of a registered nurse case manager, a chronic disease nurse, and community health outreach workers. Next slide. So the DW team focuses on providing compassionate and patient-centered care coordination and care navigation services. And their primary focus is really to address the root causes of the repeated emergency department visits. And most of the time, they are non-medical issues, also compounded by an ongoing chronic medical condition. And they do provide the care plan, as I previously mentioned, and their goal is to really help the patient meet the patient's personal health objectives. So next slide. I like this graphic because it shows and illustrates the detailed and patient-centered roadmap that is used by the program. And it's circuitous because sometimes it will require a lot of reaching out to multiple resources, right? It's not a straight line. It can be complex. But the members of that team are there to help each patient get to independence and independence for caring for themselves. Next slide. Destination Wellness Program also supports our primary care practices in the hospital emergency department. And I would say that because they are offloading a lot of that work that probably should be done or could be done by the primary or by the healthcare providers, but it actually facilitates the healthcare provider's ability just to focus on treatment while Destination Wellness focuses on addressing the non-medical issues. What I talked about was case management. That is really the process that I described earlier. Oftentimes, they also conduct home visits and implement home interventions as needed, by the patient. And they engage in what's called transition care management, and that is the process of educating the patient about the resources out there and being available as a consultant or as a supporter for each of those patients, as they try to achieve, independence and having the ability to care for themselves on their own. But this takes time, and so on average, our team follows them for the duration of the issue or 90 days. Whichever is shorter. And if there's a need to extend that, those are also assessed on a case-by-case basis. And the ultimate goal is really to help each patient achieve their personal health goals. The next slide. So who are eligible for the services of the Destination Wellness Program? So the people who are eligible for this program are adults age 18 or above who are frequent users of the emergency department, emergency medical services, the mobile crisis program, and they have to be residents of Calvert County, but they can also be residents of neighboring counties who overutilize Calvert County services. And being in the tri-county service or the tri-county area, that's an occurrence that also takes place. And who can refer to the Destination Wellness Program? We have multiple partners who are able to do that. So the emergency department at the hospital, emergency medical services, the mobile crisis team, any primary care practice, as well as social services providers. In addition to that, patients can also self-refer to the program, and it's fairly easy to do. They can visit our website and look at the prompts there that take them to the Destination Wellness Program. But they can also make a referral through email and by phone, and the contact information are on the slide. So next slide. So this program's interventions are already making a significant difference in the community. And since it was established in July 2025, the program has enrolled a significant number of clients. So from July 2025 to December 2025, the program enrolled 41 clients, and 44% of which were frequent users of the emergency department. And 39% of them frequently used emergency medical services transport. So in January 2026 alone, there were new there were 19 new clients who were enrolled in the program, and our hope is that it would continue to do that. On the graph, or the chart on the right, you can see the breakdown, and it shows that 80% of the factors that contributed to the overuse of emergency medical services were non-medical. 35% experienced housing instability or issues with utilities. 25% had food insecurity. 20% did not have reliable transportation, and 20% had a chronic medical condition that was driving that overuse of emergency services. And Destination Wellness aims to really address those to help improve patient outcomes and then and also reduce costs for the community. So next slide. Okay, this slide really illustrates the cost effectiveness of the DW program. On the top, so our team did a financial analysis, and on the top, you can see the annual operating cost is approximately $200,000 annually. Yeah. And the break even, so the program's break even threshold is met by achieving only one of the 3 goals that are listed on the slide. So the program breaks even when they prevent 1.5 hospital admissions per month. And for an entire year, that translates to a savings of $216,000. They also would break even when the program prevents 11 emergency department visits per month. And that translates to approximately $198,000 annually. And then lastly, the program continues to break even when it prevents 21 emergency medical service transports per month, which translates to a savings of $201,000 annually. And if you look over to the chart on the right, the bar graph on the left in red represents the annual cost of running this program. And then the green bar chart on the right shows the projected cost savings if the program were to enroll 210 clients per year. And as you can clearly see, it's cost effective. And it would take serving 19 to 20 patients per month. And so our hope is that would continue to occur. And so the next slide. This one, so the current effort is funded generously by the Maryland Community Health Resources Commission, or the CHRC. And that is a grant that's renewable for a total of 3 years, and we are currently in year number 1. For the duration of the grant, our team is focused on better understanding the impact of the program on the community in terms of cost savings and measurable patient outcomes. And so the data is not enough yet, but hopefully in a year or two, we'd like to be able to come back and present those outcomes to the Board of Health. In the future, the health department plans to incorporate the services that are provided by the DW program into a new program called the Mobile Integrated Health Model. This is a model in which we are collaborating with Emergency Medical Services, Calvert Health, the health department, and then and other community partners. And it's really to transform health for rural counties like ours. And we're seeking support from the Rural Health Transformation Program. And we are excited about this opportunity. Next slide. And so in closing, I really would like to recognize and acknowledge the outstanding team that's behind DW, or Destination Wellness. So Ms. Mika Blizzard, our nursing supervisor and program manager. We have Cindy Lohman. She might be tuned in. She's our registered nurse, case manager. Candace Smith, who is our chronic disease nurse, and our community health workers, Kim Ryan and Linnell McCall. That's really all I have for this morning, and we are happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner Hart?
No, just thank you as always.
Commissioner Grasso?
Yeah.
Well, I want to say this is a wonderful program. To have independence for our older population is paramount. When they have independence, it saves money in the long run, and it's good for them. How many people, well, let me back up. I think you all were here when we acknowledged that this is Nutrition Month, and we met some of our drivers who do go in and do spend time with our older population, and how important that is to have that human contact. Do you reach the whole county in a year, or do you find that it's pretty hard to do? Are you reaching everybody you need to reach?
Based on the referrals, I would say we're reaching a good amount. So up to date, we actually now have 170 referrals to date. So I just got that data yesterday. And we have 32 active clients. So I think, with us partnering with the hospital as well as public safety, it gives us a bigger picture of the amount of people we can reach, because the public safety from that standpoint, not everyone goes to the hospital. They are having people call 911 to lift them up, to get them from the bed to the commode. That's unnecessary use of our EMS team when we have emergencies out there. So if you imagine, we're capturing people who aren't even getting to the emergency department through 911. And that's a different set of people than we're used to seeing. So it's good to have that partnership with EMS, because we see the picture of their people that they see, as well as the people who are going to the hospital. So I would say yes.
Good.
When our department makes referrals, in some cases, it's really that they have housing instability, and that's how they're coming to us. And they might even be people you send our way, right, or refer to us. And then when we start to ask questions, we understand, like, there's some chronic disease here. There's some more complex, issues. This is going to be a case that's going to require a deeper level of support and case management. And that's when I know this is the right program for it.
Well, it definitely takes a village to do this, and our village is in place, and our village is a blessing to our people of Calvert County. And I'm very glad that you all are measuring with your outcomes what you are accomplishing. Do you meet with the hospital so the hospital knows what you are doing, and so on and so forth?
Yes, so we meet with the hospital monthly. We let them know how many referrals we receive from them and where we are with their referrals. And we do the same thing with public safety and also with the mobile crisis team. So the referrals we receive from them, we give them updates, and we let them know where we are. Because like Dr. Taneza Moore said, some people need 3 months, some people need 6 months or 7 months. So every single person is treated individually. It's not a generic care plan. I mean, we are doing things that really go above and beyond, and unique things to help people get to where they need to be. So yes, we do meet with the hospital monthly, we meet with public safety, and we also meet with mobile crisis team.
Well, thank you all for what you do. Take special people, and you are a blessing to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Haynes?
So, your outreach program, how does that work again?
So the mobile outreach program, so I don't know if you guys remember, we received a citation from you guys for Highway to Health, and that actually developed into Destination Wellness. It evolved into that.
Okay.
And so we receive referrals from different entities, the hospital, primary care, self-referrals. Once we get those referrals, then we do an assessment. And what you find is they may refer to the person doesn't have transportation, but the picture is usually a lot bigger than that. So we get into the deeper issue, because maybe we found out they don't have transportation because maybe they couldn't pay their car note and they just lost their job, or their utilities are cut off. So we look at those social issues, because the reality is people don't put their health at priority if they don't know where their next meal is going to come from, or if they can't keep their lights on. And truthfully, the social issues is what's impacting people's health. If you can get those social issues taken care of, then we can manage their health. So we take care of what is a priority for that person first, so then we can manage their health, if that makes sense. And so we just drive that through the care navigation with those individual care plans. And then eventually the goal is to get them independent, so they'll know who to call and when to call, how to manage their health, how to manage their social needs, give them the tools. A lot of hand-holding, but it's really worth it once you see a person is reaching their own, goals as well.
Because we just had the proclamation for Meals on Wheels, and they're serving a whole lot of people that probably need this service. So how do we connect those two lists together?
Definitely, they can refer to us directly through the refer a person link on our website, or they can email or text us for the number that's on the PowerPoint presentation. And we have that listed on our webpage as well.
Right, because you make a really valuable point. You know, we've gone from a volunteer EMS service to a paid service. So anytime you can reduce those calls that are really not emergency, or somebody just needs some help in their home, if you can take that burden off of our providers, that is a big savings for us.
Yes, and that's our goal.
Often public safety will CC us and social services in the referral process too, so we're looped in. So if there is a program within Office on Aging that we can refer them to as well, we'll make that we'll connect them. Our staff are aware because they work closely with Mika's team, so that's good. But I do think you make a good point that the actual drivers probably need to be trained and understand about this program, so that's something we can look into.
Yeah, because it seems like that's the population you're trying to target, is those people that really don't get out of their homes. And when they need something, they call 911 because that's all they know. Your grant, is that a one-time grant, or is that renewed every year? How does that work?
This is a 3-year grant, so it's 3 years, and then we're working toward mobile integrated health. So we're developing and working on things now to make it a sustainable program, because we know the county really could use this program. It would save the county a lot of money. It would keep a lot of people in their homes, as opposed to, having a lot of unhoused people in our community, if you have someone navigating that system for them. So so we're looking at some other sustainable ways as well.
Is that a match grant?
It's not a match grant.
No, it's not a match grant. That's the Rural Health Transformation Program. It's a separate source altogether.
This was these federal funds that this past year we embarked on a state level. There were groups that were formed regionally that were talking about different programs that could match up with the federal goals, federal goals. And so it was $264 million total, I think, that Maryland was granted. Is that right?
Yeah. 160 million.
Oh, it's 160 million. Okay. So the goal being that, Maryland honed in on very specific kind of programs they wanted to target, and mobile integrated health was actually one of the programs, which is phenomenal because we have been talking about that since I've been in my role. Like public safety in our department and frankly, like it's such a great this is a prevention program, but it's also like a intervention, like a crisis intervention. So it's a bit of both. Mobile integrated health programs they evaluate the safety of that home. And so it's like looking out for all of the things that could improve the safety for that person living there. And we don't really have a program that does that right now. And so that's where they would be, public safety and health department would be partners in making that possible through that rural health funding.
So if your population that you serve doubled or tripled, do you have funding for that? I mean, is there a limit?
Well, if it doubles or triple, again, that's what we're leaning toward, that rural health transformation program, because ideally the program will grow. So we are looking to write into those funds with the anticipation that the program will grow.
Because at the end of the day, if it's a successful program and we can verify how it saves us money.
So
I don't want to go on too far of a limb, but I think we would consider at least looking at ways to support it if at the end of the day it saves us more than we invest, is I guess what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think the trickle effect from the program, public safety is always working with Calvert Health because the wait times in the ER. So if you're cutting down on those wait times in the ER, you're saving staff hours. If you're a volunteer and you're hung up at the hospital trying to get a patient off a stretcher for hours, what's that going to do to your morale? You know what I mean? So I think that the program has a lot of potential to help a lot of problems and save a lot of money. So I keep it going.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Grasso, you have a motion for me?
I move to adjourn the meeting of the Calvert County Board of Health and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to reconvene Board of County Commissioners meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to consent agenda. Consent agenda, it's an administrative function unless a commissioner or somebody has a question about what's on the consent agenda. Those items are read together as a formality. Today,
I do on 1 and 2, and it's just, I guess, a comment. I guess this is, we're seeing that the program worked when we took over the towers during the, when State of Maryland went from analog to digital.
Mhm.
So, good. As I was reading that, I guess we're in year 4 now? 5 of that?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like
Okay. Good, good.
All right, so item number 3 was removed from consent agenda, so I'll skip over that. Item number 1, Department of Public Safety, Huntingtown Tire Lease Agreement and Cellco Partnership, Verizon Wireless. Item number 2, Department of Public Safety, Emmanuel Church Tower Lease Agreement with Cellco Partnership, Verizon Wireless. Item number 3 has been put back on the agenda. Item number 4, Department of Community Resources, approval of agency safety plan for bus transit. Item number 5, Department of Community Resources fiscal year 2026 transportation grant agreements. And item 6, Department of Parks and Recreation, King Memorial Park stewardship agreement. Have a motion?
I move that we approve and adopt the consent agenda items.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve and adopt the consent agenda items. Is there any discussion on that?
None.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Takes us to new business. First item on new business, Department of Finance and Budget tax differential rate for the town of Chesapeake Beach. Mayor Wall. Good morning, sir. And our CFO. Yes, sir. So annually, we.
Good morning.
Morning.
Mayor.
This is Dan Baden, our town treasurer.
Good morning.
Nice to meet you.
So annually, we revisit the tax differential rate for both towns, and you're here this morning for that. So would you like to open with any comment, or CFO, or?
Well, sure. Appreciate the opportunity to meet with you. It's always a pleasure to meet with this board. It's great to be back in the saddle in Chesapeake Beach after having an 8-year hiatus. I know I was here last year, but at any rate, things are moving along nicely. This is Dan Baden, who has we've hired as our town treasurer. And Dan is very analytical and careful and thoughtful with the town's resources, and is doing a great job of saving our taxpayers money. So I commend him for what he's been doing. And of course, as we all know, the tax differential, this differential has to do with the services that are provided through town tax dollars that normally would be provided through county tax dollars. And so we're here to answer any questions that you may have. We appreciate the fact that that this is being considered, and great to be with you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Grasso?
I don't have any questions. I'll wait for the presentation.
Mr. Hart?
Oh, yeah, I can wait till the end.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. You're fine with that?
Okay.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Commissioners. Thank you for having us. We are here today to present the proposed FY 2026.
Who are you?
Rates.
Who are you?
I am Valena Brookshire.
Nice to meet you. How you doing today?
For Calvert County Government. Happy to be here.
Nice to meet you.
As a brief reminder, as was stated, the tax differential is a vital tool that we use to ensure fundamental fairness for our taxpayers. When our incorporated towns provide localized services like road maintenance, public safety, or parks that the county would otherwise be responsible for, we reduce the county property tax rate for those town residents. This ensures they are not taxed twice for the same service. This year, Finance and Budget undertook a rigorous review of our calculation methodology to ensure that it reflects current realities. Historically, the town utilized a blended approach that averaged historical county data with municipal spending data to calculate a single blanket rate for both towns. They can't hear you. Moving forward, we are adopting a methodology that utilizes current year county data and cost data exclusively from the county. by establishing a clear, transparent connection between the specific services the county is providing and the actual cost of us providing those services. We ensure the calculation reflects true service delivery levels.
Do you mind pulling the mic up? I'm truly sorry. There's people online and they cannot hear you.
Okay.
Sorry.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you. This methodology is significantly more accurate and defensible. It directly links the differential to actual county taxpayer dollars saved. It minimizes the risk of over and under compensating and ensures equitable treatment by granting each town a customized rate based on unique service profiles. With this data-driven approach, the FY 2026 rate budget proposes distinct rates for each town. We have an increase for Chesapeake to 0.36 per $100 of assessed value. I recognize there is understandable questions around the fact that these rates are different between Chesapeake and North Beach. And for years, we applied the same exact rate to both municipalities. So I want to explicitly explain the math and the why behind this divergence, which comes down to 3 key points. First, the historical rate was an artificial compromise. For years, the county applied a uniform rate, 0.336, to both towns. Mathematically, it is impossible for 2 distinct towns with different budgets, different property values, different service levels to naturally generate the exact same avoided cost rate. So that 0.336 was a blended compromise. By untangling that data and running a pure formula, the math naturally separates the 2 rates to ensure that each town is compensated precisely for their unique footprint. The second key factor is the difference in the pool of avoided costs. We don't just look at total municipal spending in our cost data, we itemize for specific duplicative services that each town provides. So the towns manage distinctly different physical footprints and amenities, which changes their maintenance and their capital budgets. They offer differing services as it relates to solid waste and environmental services, different local permitting and licensing services, and different public safety and emergency services. So because the towns offer different services to their residents, the pool of costs that the county recognizes as avoided is slightly different. For Chesapeake, their specific mix of services allows the county to recognize roughly $45.5 million in duplicative services. Chesapeake's formula required a larger correction of nearly 3 cents to capture their true avoided costs. And the third, final, most important reason is what we call the denominator effect. So the formula calculates the rate the rest of the county pays for these services by taking our total county tax base and subtracting the town's tax base. So this remainder is the net county tax base, and that's the denominator of our equation. Chesapeake Beach has a much larger property tax base, so when you subtract their larger footprint from the county total, you are left with a smaller net county base to absorb those costs. So ultimately, you have a smaller base yielding a higher tax rate, and in this case, 0.362. So this divergence is simply about allowing the methodology to accurately reflect the unique scale and service profile of each community. The approach is fiscally sound, it's defensible, and it is equitable for all Calvert County residents. And as we look beyond to 2027, we are committed to continuously collaborating with the town so that we can refine this process. I am happy to answer any questions along with
Mr. Hart?
Mayor, you okay with the rate? I mean, I know we've seen as a state the stats are insane. So obviously there's adjustments. I mean, but are you okay with how the stats came in and how it applies to your rates and services? You know, when you.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
I have the same question. Yeah, and do you understand, Mayor, what we're trying to accomplish here? We have worked very hard to make county government proceed in a business approach, and we've worked very hard to put the right people in place to correct what has been done possibly incorrectly, and to make everyone whole and everyone equitably share the costs within the county. So that's all I have to say.
Well, and that sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Hance?
Well, as Commissioner Grasso said, we've had some challenges in finance and budget, and have a new team in place, and we're evaluating our entire process, not just the town differentials. And we made changes in our own processes and internally with our own department heads about how we move forward, making sure that costs are accounted for appropriately. And I think this is just another example of trying to get our system up to date and make sure that everybody's treated the same. So, in the past, I think that seems like they just took the easy way out, and it was easy to just, add the two together and make a little division. But, when we started this process, we really didn't know how it was going to turn out. So, just trying to be as fair as we can with both the towns up there and how those costs are distributed. So,
well, and essentially, it sounds like the county has done the same thing that the town did when we took office a little over a year ago. The previous treasurer of the town of Chesapeake Beach, I never met her, even though she was on leave for 4 months after I took office. She was on maternity leave, but I never laid eyes on her. Dan filled in on a temporary basis, and then when we posted the position after she submitted her resignation, I decided to hire Dan and bring him on board, and he has done the same thing for the town that it sounds like you're doing for the county. He's really been digging in, and I'm very grateful that he's here. And when it comes to specific questions, he's the one to ask. I'll just pass off to him. But at any rate, yes, it sounds like we're on the same trajectory.
I would have to agree. I believe we're headed in the correct direction.
Thank you.
Have a motion?
Okay. I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve a tax differential rate of 0.362 per $100 for the town of Chesapeake Beach for the fiscal year 2027 budget for adoption.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to request the board approve a tax differential rate of 0.362 per 100 for town of Chesapeake Beach for the 2027 budget for adoption. Any discussion?
None.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming
Thank you.
in.
We'll talk soon.
All right.
That takes us to Department of Finance and Budget tax differential rate for the town of North Beach. Lena, I guess you stay where you are. We have anybody here from North Beach? Lena, would you like to discuss the North Beach differential rate?
Thank you, Commissioner. Much of what I stated for Chesapeake Beach stands. We are making sure that the rate is equitable, it is defensible, and we are using county data. One thing that I will share around North Beach, and just a finer point on the difference between the two towns. As I mentioned, there are a few reasons, but two that I'll hone in on specifically for North Beach. And it does come down to the size of the assessable tax base. We know Chesapeake's tax base is larger than North Beach. So even if the towns received the same rate increase, the dollar impact would be slightly larger for Chesapeake Beach. And the second is going back to the data-driven formula that we are using, yielded a much smaller rate adjustment for North Beach. The rate only needed to be increased by a fraction of a penny. But as I mentioned before, we look forward to working with the towns to continue to refine our approach, to make sure that we are aligned on the data and how we use it going forward, and make sure that we continue to look at it and come to you all when changes are needed.
Since no one is here physically from the town of North Beach, have you heard by phone from the mayor or the administrator?
I have not.
Have we heard?
Yes, Linda Turner, County Administrator. I have been in communications with the town administrators, so I have advised them what their new rate is for the year.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And did I hear you say in your presentation that from now on, we're going to do an annual review?
That is correct, yes.
Because in the past, that didn't happen. They just set a rate. And so is there a reason that triggered why we looked at it this year? Is that just something you discovered, or how did that work?
It had been a few years since we had looked at it, and we should, by state law, be looking at this annually.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hart, you have anything?
No.
Have a motion?
I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve a tax differential rate of 0.340 per $100 for the town of North Beach for the fiscal year 2027 budget for adoption.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second that the board approve a tax differential rate of 0.34 per 100 for the town of North Beach for the FY 2027 budget for adoption. Is there any discussion?
Yeah. Would you guys be okay just since we haven't talked to North Beach here physically, just to maybe push it for 2 weeks to get an opportunity to get
I believe we're bound.
Well,
correct.
I know the timeline, but it would be tight. But you could get it in. It would be tight. And the only reason I say that is I know there was some personal things, and I just want to just make sure that that we're okay. Even if we pushed it for a week, just to get some feedback back. But
No, we're bound. We would need to move the budget adoption date, so we do need to have action taken today.
I think you can make the date. At least that's what their camp told me.
Let me ask you something. If they don't agree with the course we have taken, is there any recourse for the town of North Beach?
Is there an appeal process? Is there?
Commissioners, Steve McGibbon, Deputy County Administrator. We have engaged in a methodology here that we believe addresses the tax differential in an equitable manner and in a fair manner. So as far as recourse, I'm not sure what that would look like because then you just took a vote on the approach that we used for Chesapeake. So if you're going to change the methodology, then we'll have to revisit theirs as well. So I do not see an equitable method of recourse here. As our CFO indicated, going forward, we will be bringing in the towns to have a more deliberative process going forward so that they can have their input in, as well. But what we have here is from their unified financial report. We have pulled data from what they have done and submitted during their audit. And so I don't see the numbers changing. I wouldn't have a reason to change those numbers at this point. So what we have is they have received a higher differential than they did the last time around. So they're not being harmed at all. They're getting an increased amount. The county will be deferring additional revenues because of their increased rate. So they're not being harmed. In previous years, it was held at the old rate, and there was no dispute about that. So giving them a better rate, I'm not sure what they would be disputing at this point.
Well, I thought there was a rate, and then it came back with an adjustment, and that's what's brought the question in.
They were looking at the Chesapeake rate, which they're not entitled to. They're entitled to the North Beach rate because it's two separate entities providing different services. There's no, I can't find a reasonable rationale to blend the rates.
No, I'm not asking that. I'm just asking that
But I think that's what
there
they were
was some
looking at.
confusion with data that she touched on, correct?
Mhm.
And there was confusion with EMS and something else being added into it, I believe.
Yeah, some other.
And I'd just like to make sure that the mayor and his staff are just as satisfied as Chesapeake Beach is before we go forward. Just
They're not harmed, sir.
well, you say that. I want to hear them say
They're,
that.
yeah.
No disrespect.
They're getting an increased rate, but I'm not sure, Mary, if you want to come forward. I'm not sure what it will do to our budget adoption process. Again, if they were looking at the Chesapeake rate, that we, you know, that's,
And I don't know if that's
their
the case. I just know that I just believe there's some questions still.
Okay.
Well, Linda Turner, County Administrator, the Town Administrator did send me a text requesting clarification on the rate, and I did respond to her, and that was on Sunday. So I did provide that clarification to them.
I'm Mary Andes, Deputy Director of Budget. As everyone's mentioned, you know, we've looked at this considerably, trying to make sure that we're doing the best thing for both of the towns. This is a stepping stone moving forward to a better approach of, you know, bringing in the towns, having a task force, looking into exactly what they're offering, what we're offering, and not just the county making that decision, but the towns making that decision too. As I mentioned, we do have to have this meeting today in concurrence today. Without that, we would not be able to adopt our budget in time for the new fiscal year. So I'm at your direction, of course. You know, I'm happy to reach out to the towns and talk exactly through how these calculations were made, if you think that's helpful.
I've just never signed off without both mayors being good with the tax differential, especially when they're the face of their towns.
Understood.
So would just like to know that just as Mayor Walsh said, that everybody's satisfied.
Understood.
I'm just a little surprised with, I'm a little surprised that there's no representation from North Beach, even though the mayor is unavailable, and it's understandable why he's unavailable. I'm just very surprised that there's no representation here.
Yeah,
And that is not our fault.
No, and I don't, and like I said, I don't know why. I don't know, you know. So that's why I just want to make sure, because I've just in the past have never signed off without both mayors being satisfied. So that's all.
Any other discussion? So I have a motion and a second. We've had our discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Motion carries 3-1. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it takes us new business, Department of Finance and Budget, Facilities Budget Adjustment. The department is seeking the following motion for the $100,000 reallocation. This is what was on the consent agenda that was removed. So if you guys could touch on that and answer whatever questions that were presented.
Sure. Good morning, Commissioners. J.R. Cosgrove, Director of Public Works. And of course, I'm here with Melena Brookshire, Director of Finance and CFO of Finance and Budget. I'm going to go ahead and read through the memo, and then if you have any questions afterwards, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Okay.
Background. In fiscal year FY 2025, the Department of Public Works General Services Division, which manages facilities for Calvert County government, received an $850,078 appropriation for contracted services, of which $607,323 was spent. In FY 26, the contract service budget was reduced to $355,000, and the entire amount has been spent to date. Discussion. As a result, the additional funding is required to cover necessary contractual obligations and cost overruns, including Larry's acquisition, fire alarm services, additional costs beyond the original allocation, annex repairs. Unplanned repairs costs totaling about $3,000. American Elevator, an additional $5,400 per month is required to maintain monthly coverage for the county administration building. Labor cost budgets at $1,600 with about $1,506 spent to date. has left insufficient remaining funds. Fiscal impact. Approval of this request would reallocate $100,000 from the maintenance and repair projects under $10,000 to contract services and would not increase the department's overall budget. The transfer is necessary due to the reduction in of the FY26 contractual service budget to $355,000. Without the reallocation, contract services remain unfunded for the remainder of FY 2026, affecting required services such as fire alarm support, elevator coverage, annex repairs, and labor-related costs. The action would allow the department to meet existing contractual obligations and maintain essential operations through the end of the fiscal year. Conclusion and recommendation. It is recommended that a $100,000 reallocation under budget adjustment BA 2026-000571 be approved to ensure continuity of critical services, meeting existing contractual obligations and avoiding service disruptions of potential compliance and safety risks throughout the remainder of FY26. Basically kind of what this boils down to, the budget was reduced in FY26, and we've had some unforeseen things come up, such as like the annex repairs. We do annual and monthly maintenance to all our generators in our facilities. The annex is the building directly next door here to the county administration, where we have most of our main fiber and all come in that we pretty much run our day-to-day operations off of. So we need that generator functioning as it should when power goes out. What happened was the automatic transfer switch stopped functioning. So when they turn the generator on, it's supposed to automatically kick power off, generator on. That was not functioning. So when we were doing our routine maintenance, we found this out. Of course, that's a cost that you generally necessarily can't plan for. So that was an additional cost we had to incur under that budget, but wasn't planned for. The same thing with the fire alarm service. Larry's acquisition actually does all of our fire alarm repairs through multiple facilities throughout the county. And we had an issue down at our Brooms Island storage facility during one of the storms that blew out the fire alarm. We had to go in there and repair that. Once again, it's unforeseen. It's not something necessarily we can budget for. In the past years, usually we have a little bit of buffer in that account for stuff like this. Well, and when planning for FY26, we kind of reduced that buffer to say. So that kind of what's put us in this predicament and why we're in front of you today to move this $100,000. As I stated, it's not changing the department's budget at all. We're just reallocating from more or less one bucket to another bucket.
But Jerry, you've had to do that in the past too. I mean,
We have.
we've had projects that actually came in pretty well and able to move that money to actually get other projects started. So,
correct.
I mean, it's
not changing the overall budget. It's just
yeah. So it's
shifting
actually
some funds
being very
around with it.
frugal and not buying an extra toaster just so it doesn't look weird on paper. So no, I appreciate if you got savings somewhere and you can put it into another project, I'm all about it.
Thank you.
Commissioner Grasso?
No comment.
Thank you.
So was your budget cut in 25 also?
In 25, not this much, no. When we were planning our FY26 budget, we looked at what we were budgeted in 23, 24, and 25 and how much we spent in each. And to try to be fiscal responsible, I went ahead and reduced our budget some. But as you all know, FY26 budget was kind of rough. So we ended up reducing it even more to try to tighten the purse strings and maybe get through. But we all had concerns that maybe at some point, depending on if something breaks that we weren't aware of, we could be in this predicament. And that's why we're here. So we found funding within Public Works that we can cover our own without having to ask for an increase in funding. So
We did that to everybody, trying to get you as lean as possible to make sure that
Correct.
there was no excess, trying to balance the budget. So
correct.
Thank
All
you.
That answer everybody's questions?
Yes.
All right. Thank you, JR. Like I said, that's something that, again, I talked about earlier, typically would have been on a consent agenda item. However, I think we need to start moving some of these back over off the consent agenda item for clarity. I mean, if people have questions, it gives them an opportunity to get them answered, and y'all
No
did
problem.
that, so we appreciate it.
That's what we're here for.
Have a motion?
I move that the $100,000 reallocation under budget adjustment BA 000571 be approved to ensure continuity of critical services, meet existing contractual obligations, and avoid service disruption or potential compliance and safety risks through the remainder of fiscal year 2026.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second that we move the $100,000 reallocation under budget adjustment BA 2026-000571 be approved to ensure continuity of critical services, meet existing contractual obligations, and avoid service disruptions or potential compliance and safety risks through the remainder of FY 2026. Any further discussion?
None.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
That takes us to our first presentation, Department of Economic Development, College of Southern Maryland, Annual State of the College Update. Julie?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Julie Oberg, Director of Economic Development. It's my pleasure today to introduce Dr. Yolanda Wilson and her leadership team for the College of Southern Maryland for their annual State of the College presentation. CSM is one of the community's most valuable assets and a strong partner in workforce development and economic growth. The college plays a vital role in preparing our residents for in-demand careers and supporting the needs of our local employees, employers, and we truly appreciate CSM's partnership and commitment to Calvert County. And now I'd like to invite Dr. Wilson to come up and introduce her team and come on up to the table. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's good to see everybody.
Good to see you.
Good morning.
Love the new facility. It's beautiful. First time I've been inside.
Welcome. Welcome.
It's lovely. So good morning, Commissioner Ireland.
Good morning.
Good morning. And Vice Chair Cox in his absence, and Commissioners Grasso and Hands and Hart.
Thank you.
It's
Good
good
morning.
to see all of
Good
you.
morning.
Good morning. As always, as the President of the College of Southern Maryland, it is my pleasure to bring you our annual presentation for the State of the College. Joining. Sure. Of course.
I just want to make sure they can hear your beautiful voice.
Thank you. So how about, is this a little better?
Yep, it is.
Okay, thank you for that. Joining me today, our trustee, Pamela Cousins.
Good morning.
Hello.
We have our wonderful student that you're going to hear from in just a moment. Also, we have Vice President of Campus Operations, Dr. Bill Comey, is towards the back. Our Vice President of Financial Services, Patrick Sheridan, is also towards the back. Assistant Vice President of Government Relations, Karen Smith-Hupp, who's on this side, and our hawk, Melanie Davies, from whom you'll hear more from shortly. So proud of Melanie. As I begin, I'd like to share that our 2025 annual report, which you have before you, reflects the 3 pillars of our strategic plan: access, momentum, and mobility. And we launched that strategic plan in fall of 2024. Further information on these many accomplishments may be found in our State of the College video. So we're doing something a little different this year. That's on our website, so we won't show it and use up the time because I have so many highlights to share. But if you'd like to see our State of the College video, feel free to go on the website for that. That's on our strategic planning webpage. And also on that strategic planning webpage are key metrics that we've accomplished this year, because we launched our Power BI data dashboard this year. So we're able to see our student success metrics, and we have some of those highlights that correlate to the impact of our strategic planning efforts on that website. So you're welcome, please, to go visit that and see the great work that's done, has been done, and what we're continuing to do. Today, I specifically would like to direct your attention to the tremendous accomplishments we've made focusing on student success and community engagement initiatives. From access to momentum to mobility, our 3 core pillars. We have several points of distinction that I know that you too will appreciate, and all of the support you've given CSM. We rely strongly on the county and the state government partners to help support our institution. It sustains the work of what we do, and we're so grateful, incredibly grateful for your support. In fact, just yesterday, do you need me to do that to advance it? Does that help? Because I'm happy to do that. Thank you. In fact, just yesterday, I was in Annapolis before the State Senate Budget and Taxation Subcommittee, testifying about the importance of our state CADE funding and two related concerns that I wanted to share with you. One is the removal of the hold harmless provision that was put in place last year, and this year a 3% cap on any annual increases through fiscal year 29. And this is what our state funding formula called CADE. So let's talk about the hold harmless provision. That ensured, when we had that in place, that ensured that even in tough enrollment years, that colleges wouldn't fall below the funding they had received in the prior year. Okay? So when that provision was removed last year, the hold harmless provision, both the Community College of Baltimore County, or what we call CCBC, as well as the College of Southern Maryland saw funding cuts in spite of the fact that we had growing enrollments. Okay? So at CSM, our funding dropped by $851,287. We are thankful that they put in place, with the support of some of our local senators, a $300,000 supplemental grant in fiscal year 26. But the challenge that we face is that each year's calculation builds off the previous year's lower base, so the loss continues to ripple forward. Now, the 3% cap that's being put in place this year makes it even harder for CSM to recover. After nearly a decade of enrollment declines, prior to 2023, we had nearly a decade of enrollment declines. We have seen steady increases since January 2023. In fact, I'm proud to announce that we are back to our pre-pandemic enrollment numbers at CSM. And last fall, we had an increase of 7.7% in enrollment. That's great news. So CSM should receive $21.27 million from the state in fiscal year 27, nearly a $1.49 million increase. So that's what we should receive. But because of that 3% cap that I mentioned, we will receive $896,000 less than what we would have received if we hadn't had the cap. Okay? So over 3 years, this is what that means. The combined impact of the funding reduction and the 3% cap means a total loss for us of $2.23 million. Okay, so we've got growth happening here and funding challenges there, which makes it a little bit challenging for us. So putting it simply, CSM's funding was reduced. The next year started from the lower number, and the cap prevents us from catching back up. So that's why I testified with some other folk yesterday about that.
I'm assuming you're still getting all the pushback on four-year programs that they have for years, which really seems unfair to cut your funding and then not give you a tool to be able to offer, you know, a longer
applied baccalaureate,
yes,
like nursing and
which is so greatly needed.
Tremendously.
I mean, you haven't asked for it all, just that works for the town. That's always been a very fair ask, and I don't understand if you're going to chop it over there. And I mean, I don't know if University of Maryland's numbers are that far down. I mean, I don't think so, but
sure.
I don't know that. But I know that that's always been a huge impactful thing, and then now to hit you that way just seems doubly unfair.
Yeah, it's been tough, and certainly many of the community colleges are open to those applied baccalaureates. Not all the baccalaureates, of course, but where the workforce need is, like in areas like nursing and places like that, and are even looking at incorporating that into our strategic plan at MAC, our Maryland Association of Community Colleges. But here's the good news. So we had that funding cut, right, over the past 3 years. But because we are good stewards of our resources, and we made the decision to lean into our fund balance, and we had support from county partners like all of you, so thank you so much. We were still able to accomplish much, even with less. So let me talk to you a little bit about what we've accomplished in the past year, okay? So for instance, we've talked to you about how we compare in Wallet Hub, right, that does kind of national comparison. So for the third year in a row, Maryland ranks as the state of Maryland, best community colleges in America, third year in a row. So we have excellent community colleges. We have 16. We're ranked as 6th in the 16 community colleges and 40th best among the 650 community colleges nationwide. So that speaks to the quality of education that CSM provides. Next, CSM is recognized by the National Security Agency as a Center of Academic Excellence in Cyber Defense. Not an easy recognition to earn, very difficult to maintain and keep, which reflects that we are very nimble and responsive to industry demands in cybersecurity, that we change our curriculum, adjust the needs, all of those things as the National Security Agency dictates. And if you may recall, at the Leonardtown campus, we implemented a cyber range. The state of Maryland got funding. We received cyber ranges at all 16 community colleges, which allows us to kind of do real-life scenarios of cyber attacks for students that they have to mitigate kind of in these real-life scenarios. So we had 26 students that enrolled, 17 that completed, 14 that passed the SOC Analyst 1 certification, Security Operations Center Analyst certifications, and we have some that are already employed, making over $70,000+ a year. So that's really good news for something we implemented last year. We have earned national recognition, as you know, as a military-friendly institution, but most recently we earned silver because we're also recognized as a military spouse-friendly school. Deeply appreciate the work of our students who are military affiliated. So we have, in the past year, enrolled approximately 1,100 students who self-identified as military connected. So we have a lot of students who are connected to the military. We're really excited last fall that we were approved to offer the first of its kind in the state of Maryland, an aviation maintenance technology degree program. First of its kind in the state. The Maryland Higher Education Commission approved it. We had advisory members of over 30 that reflected business and industry, NAVAIR, K-12, other partners that helped us design this program. So we then have 2 certificates embedded within this aviation maintenance technology pathway that include power plant and airframe. So students can come in and they can take the certification, or they can continue on and take the degree. We're going to house this degree pathway at our Center for Trades and Energy Training at the Hughesville campus, so centrally located for all the students to be able to participate regardless of their county affiliation. And we are recently put in the application for FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, to review that. So we are really excited about that degree program that should launch in fall 2027, pending FAA approval. And our NAVAIR partners have already said that they have pieces of planes ready to donate for students to tinker on and work on, to be able to utilize in that space. And we couldn't be more thrilled to offer this program, the first of its kind in the state. In fact, we have a sister institution that is now trying to launch their own in the Baltimore area. So we are setting trends there. We just also learned, we applied for 2 congressional earmarks this past year. One was for $997,000 for this aviation maintenance technology program. The other one was for $732,000 for a wastewater treatment operator certification program that we would expand from K-12 all the way through. We were one of the few institutions that not only got a notification that we are going to be awarded 1 earmark, but we're going to be awarded both earmarks. So we are thrilled about that too. So we are thankful. Senators Van Hollen and Alsobrooks helped support both of those bills, and we're thankful for the support of Congress for that. CSM's nursing program also underwent our reaccreditation process, which is really, really tough. We had the accreditation body, ASIN, visiting alongside the Maryland Board of Nursing. We had 2 teams that came to visit the campus, and we had to show documentation evidence with both groups, so you have to be approved on both levels. I am thrilled to say that our nursing program was reaffirmed. We have phenomenal faculty and instructional staff and other departments that supported that site visit and that documentation, and we are really grateful for all of the work to get that going. We know, a tremendous nursing shortage in the Southern Maryland region. We just can't produce enough nurses, to be quite frank with you. And we sometimes have a wait list, oftentimes have a wait list of about 30 or 40 students plus waiting to get in the nursing program. The reason we have to cap is because of clinicals. we don't have enough clinical sites. So that's their apprenticeship opportunities, right? You have to build that in. I am so proud that Calvert Health, I serve on that board, but Calvert Health has agreed to look at weekend and evening clinical opportunities to expand the number of clinicals we have. And I had a conversation with Charles Regional CEO Albert, also open to that possibility too. So we're trying to figure out a way to help address this pipeline shortage in our Southern Maryland region, and opening it up to weekend and evening clinicals. Our teams are starting to meet with Calvert Health as a start, will be one way of doing that. So we're excited about that. Also, expanding CSM's healthcare programs beyond nursing. We had interest in a radiation therapy program. So the Wills Group as graciously has donated $100,000 to help us stand up our radiation therapy program. So we're in the process of pulling together the curriculum program proposal for that. That also has an accrediting aspect to that, and we're moving forth with establishing that. And of course, that's for outpatient cancer care patients and centers and administering treatments. Our Talents robotics team, focusing a little bit more on another STEM aspect, earned top scores at the International VEX Robotics Competition in November, and is now ranked in the top 20 teams in the world. And this is competing with also university teams. So we're really proud of our VEX Robotics teams. They are preparing to head to the World Championships in May. So we're really pleased about that. And we've now also started hosting robotics competitions on campus with elementary and middle and high school students and other universities and colleges. And we have hundreds, thousands of people who come and gather to have little robots roll around and compete. So we're really, really proud of them and the work they're doing. And we have inked out an MOU with North Point High School in Charles County to look at an engineering pathway from their high school to us to University of Maryland. Speaking of dual enrollment in early college, CSM provides, tuition-free and low-cost opportunities, and we did it to over 1,400 students in dual enrollment in early college this past year. So that program is growing by leaps and bounds. We expanded it to include our CTE, or Career and Technical Education pathways, and medical coding and pharmaceutical tech. And I'm in conversations with all three superintendents, Dr. Newsom, Dr. Smith, Dr. Navarro, to expand that to the skilled trades. I remember, Commissioner Ireland, your interest in that. So we are talking about that and how we can bus students from those three counties to our Center for Trades and Energy Training starting next fall of 2027. So we're in the planning process now for next fall for the skilled trades. So we asked them for information to say, where are your wait lists? What programs, electrical, what program, welding, HVAC, what programs are they interested in? We've got information from all three counties. So now we're mapping out kind of how we're going to do the schedule that fits within their school schedules, how that busing will work, how the food would work, all those kind of things that we have to work through. But we're in conversations doing that now. So we're really excited about expanding our CTE connections with our high school
And
partners.
that's great news. That's the first I've heard of it. We've been talking about it for a while, and it sounds like it's come to fruition. I'm very happy to hear that.
Thank you so much. Well, we're in the planning process. Dr. Newsom came about a month ago to do a tour of the center. And again, Dr. Smith and Dr. Navarro have seen it. And so they said, we need to start planning for next fall, 2027 now, not this fall, but next. And this is when they start thinking about it and how we can create a cohort with those high school students and be able to sustain that. So we're really excited about doing that. It's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for raising that a couple of years ago. Another point of pride, CSM has what we call a re-up initiative. So that's when we reach out to our students who we call stopped out. We don't like to say students have dropped out. They've stopped out, right? Life is interrupted. They've stopped out. And trying to bring them back, right? Bring them back to complete. So we've connected with over 13,000 students who've stopped out. We look at students who've stopped out within the last 7 to 10 years or more. Say, come on back and finish your education. We're here for you. That program has successfully re-enrolled 790 students, and we've graduated 45, and we've recouped over $1.7 million in tuition revenue. So we're excited about that program and looking at continuing that. And then we have more than 1,100 students who transfer, and we'll hear from one in just a second. Transferred to 225 four-year colleges and universities in the last year. And you know we offer over 300 transfer agreements with 60 transfer partners. So I know I should have been advancing this. I got so busy talking, but here we go. So there are many points of pride, right, that are testament to the excellence that we embody as an institution and your steady commitment and investment and trust in us to be good stewards over the resources that you have provided for us, because we know that we are a critical component to our Southern Maryland's economy. So let's talk about the economic investment, right? So the Lightcast report that we get, that's our economic report that all the community colleges in the state get and even beyond, shows that we generate more than $280 million in added income each year, okay? That our college does that, supports thousands of jobs, delivers a strong return on the investment for our community members and taxpayers. So specifically, 1 of every 47 jobs in Southern Maryland, 1 of every 47, are supported by CSM and its students, 1 of every 47. CSM alumni working in the region contribute $223 million in added income. For every dollar invested by taxpayers, CSM returns $1.30 in added tax revenue and public sector savings. And largely, the society receives $5 in benefits for every dollar vested in CSM, reflecting higher earnings, increased business productivity, and reduced social service costs. So it's a sound return on your investment. One of the most special moments that we have during the State of the College is not you hearing from me, but you hearing from one of our wonderful and amazing students. So Melanie, who's from Chesapeake Beach, is going to be transferring to West Virginia University this upcoming fall. But she wanted to talk a little bit about her experience at CSM, and we are delighted to have Melanie here with us. Melanie.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning. I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of you today and share how CSM has shaped my educational journey and accelerated my success. As a Calvert County native, my educational journey started with my path to CSM beginning in high school. I graduated from Northern last year as part of the class of 2026, and I'm set to graduate from CSM as part of the class of Northern as 2025 and CSM as class of 2026. My access. I originally planned to just earn 9 college credits, but because of funded opportunities available in our county, I was able to earn 31 college credits in high school. Through AP courses, dual enrollment with CSM, and a standalone CSM class, without early college, I was able to complete an entire year of college credits in high school for under $300, paying for only 2 AP exams and having the remaining costs covered. I earned those credits in classes that genuinely interested me and allowed me to complete all 3 pathways, extra work that wasn't required or commonly completed. That early access to higher education shaped my confidence and made CSM the natural next step. When it came to time to choose where to continue my education, CSM aligned perfectly with my goals. I only needed 1 more major specific class, and the rest were general education requirements. CSM's tuition was affordable, roughly the cost of a single semester meal plan at many universities. Staying home allowed me to reduce expenses, continue working my jobs, and maintain stability. CSM allowed me to complete my criminal justice degree while taking the courses I need to prepare for a 4-year forensic science degree at West Virginia University. The transfer agreement with WVU ensures that all my credits will carry over, which is important because some of the credits I earned in high school would not have counted towards that program. By staying at CSM, it let me use every credit I worked for and stay on track towards my ambitions. What keeps me going? One of my biggest motivators for me is affordability. CSM is accessible enough that I have not needed to accept FAFSA and could pay out of pocket for my education. Knowing that I'll walk out of the school year with a degree and no debt keeps me focused and driven. Campus life also plays a huge role. Small class sizes means professors actually know your name. They're willing to meet with you, care about your success, and are passionate about what they teach. Many help students build connections and offer guidance on opportunities beyond college. The campus environment is friendly, clean, and full of events that make you feel part of the community. And that community is incredibly diverse, with many students across all ages, backgrounds, and experiences. Hearing different perspectives, learning from other successes and setbacks, and seeing how people balance school, work, and personal responsibilities have shaped the way I approach my own education. It reinforces higher education is truly accessible for everyone. CSM also gives me the flexibility to build a schedule that fits my life. I've taken classes in every format: virtual, hybrid, high flex, face-to-face, across 15-week, 7-week, and 3-week sessions. I've been at all campuses of Prince Frederick, La Plata, and Leonardtown, offered in the morning, afternoon, and evening. I've been able to balance school, work, and personal responsibilities without sacrificing any of my progress. CSM is not just where I am, it's what's moving me forward. It keeps me to be able to afford college and have it manageable while offering a smooth transition from high school to a 4-year institution. Because I can stay a full year ahead, I can finish my bachelor's degree in 2 years after transferring. That gives me the opportunity to start my master's early or secure internships that strengthen my experience. CSM has given me strong foundations in criminal justice, while allowing me to take the science-based courses needed to transfer into the forensic science program. Since all my credits transfer cleanly to WVU, it keeps my academic path efficient and focused. I've also been able to connect with professors who understand the field and can guide me towards the skills and pathways that matter. CSM positions students to build local connections with agencies and labs and can build internships or job opportunities. Thank you for supporting programs that make opportunities like mine a possibility. Access, momentum, and mobility aren't just ideas, they are the foundation that's turning my path of forensic science into a reality.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did a great job. Now you can breathe, right?
All right, so what's the end goal?
I want to transfer to West Virginia University to graduate with a bachelor's in forensic science.
And what are we going to do?
I want to work in a forensic science lab or examiner, or crime scene, stuff like that to help out community members.
FBI.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
we'll see
good for
where
you.
it goes.
Good for you.
Good.
Right.
So Melanie is a beautiful example of what makes us so incredibly proud to do the work we do every day. It's about the Melanies, right? So proud of you, Melanie, and you will go far and do great things
Absolutely.
for us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
so much. So when she talked about access and talked about momentum and mobility and the supports and the services, the investment you're making is making a difference in our Melanies every day. Every single day, you're changing lives, and Melanie is an example of that. So let's think about, I gave you the numbers kind of largely, let's think about Calvert County specifically, locally, okay? So CSM's headcount and our growth that I mentioned to you earlier reflects growth right here in Calvert. So for fiscal year 2025, this includes 2,024 credit students from Calvert County, which represent nearly 26% of all CSM students. 869 of those students were continuing education students. So those are students who are interested in workforce certification, short-term workforce needs. And that represents nearly 18% of our total student population. When we consider momentum over the last 3 years, Calvert's county enrollment for both credit and non-credit students has increased by nearly 13.3%. So the increase is tremendous, from 2,519 students in fiscal year 2023 to 2,854 total students in fiscal year 2025. So when we look at that growth trajectory, Calvert is firmly among those numbers. And as we consider mobility, that's our students who are going into the workforce, got their degrees, going into transfer, nearly 25% of all of our CSM degree and certificate recipients in fiscal year 2025 were Calvert County students. So Calvert County had 400 degree and certificate recipients last year. That was an increase of 32.5% since fiscal year 2023. So we've got a lot of Melanies out there, which is great. As we look at mobility from the prospect of transfer students, on average, the percentage of students in the last 3 cohorts who transferred by county of residence from Calvert County was 28.8%. Transfer students from Charles was 25%, St. Mary's County was 26%, and outside the region, 27%. So Calvert County was the lead with 28%. And the top transfer destinations, although we don't have West Virginia as a top transfer destination for Calvert County, we do have University of Maryland Global Campus, University of Maryland College Park, Salisbury, and Towson. So that's where Calvert County students are transferring the most. So this signals a really strong confidence in our community and what CSM offers and what CSM can do. So, breaking that down even further, the National Student Clearinghouse research reports that community colleges accounted for the vast majority of higher ed's total enrollment growth this past year. So when we look at where enrollment's growing, basically, we see the growth trending higher in growth for community colleges than we do in universities. Our numbers are growing community colleges nationwide quicker and faster than universities. And I think part of that has to do with our dual enrollment pipeline, which is helping that growth nationally, and, as I mentioned to you, the workforce certification pipeline. So we've got the skilled trades. So we've got people coming back for the HVAC and the welding and the plumbing and the electrical, and they're looking at the cyber short-term kind of 10-week boot camp kind of experiences. People are looking for that and want to go right into the workforce. And so it's allowing those two areas alone, is allowing community colleges to kind of ink out as economic engines in the communities and in the value-added proposition that people see that make them really want to participate at our institutions. Okay? Let me talk a little bit more because I kind of skipped through as I'm going through here. One of the things that I also want to mention to you, speaking of kind of short-term workforce certifications, I just got back from a trip to Albuquerque, New Mexico, as some of you may be aware. Mm-hmm. So thank you for supporting Kathleen to go with us, because it was delightful to have her as a part of that. So just to kind of talk a little bit about that trip. I'm honored as a CSM representative to be a part of a group called the Alliance for Innovation and Transformation. It invites 60 CEOs across the country to be a part. They cap at 60, and that's university CEOs, community college CEOs, and business and industry CEOs, okay? Capping at 60. It's a leadership think tank kind of organization that's always pressing into innovation and transformation. Each year they pick a theme. This year the theme was quantum. Okay, so everyone's trying to figure out, what is quantum? Like, what does this mean? How do we figure out what quantum is and what it can do? So that was the theme. So Central New Mexico Community College is the community college that's in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Okay, it's one of the largest in the state. And they have stood up a 10-week boot camp to help prepare people for a quantum technician certification. Okay, they worked in partnership with the Department of Energy's Sandia National Laboratories. They worked in partnership with Elevate Quantum, which is an organization that has quantum technologies. They worked in partnership with a couple of different quantum agencies. So Albuquerque, believe it or not, I didn't realize this, but learn this, is like this quantum hub out there, okay? And they worked in partnership with them and the University of New Mexico and with their state and local governmental agencies. So they had this kind of ecosystem that did the work, which is why I wanted us to have an ecosystem that traveled to Albuquerque. So we had someone from the University of Maryland system with us. Michelle is our Senior Vice Chancellor of Research and Development. She was with us. We had representatives from all three counties. The representative from St. Mary's County had an unexpected family situation, wasn't able to go, but we had someone from Charles and, of course, someone from Calvert. We also had representatives from CSM, and then we had someone from the Maryland Higher Education Commission. So that's our state representative, was the assistant secretary for MHEC. So we had a really good team. And we spent time visiting their laboratories. So this 10-week boot camp that they created, they had someone that came from industry Intel, working in tandem with a quantum physicist, developed this 10-week training boot camp with feedback from those industry partners. And we have folk feeding into that from the military, people from high schools, folk from business and industry, people who have master's degrees and want to come back and upskill. Did the training, and they could come out with that certification depending on what position they had and what entry level they were, anywhere from $70-something thousand, they said, all the way up to $140,000 a year. Okay, and this is with a 10-week boot camp. What was so amazing about this boot camp is that it was no math and science prereqs to get in. Okay, now here's the key, though, because it's very STEMmy, so I don't want you to think there's no STEM being taught. They taught it as an applied math or science once you were in the boot camp. So they didn't want the math and science prereqs to scare people off, right? Because some people hear, okay, you've got this trigonometry, I'll pick that, and I can't do trig, so they just give up before they even get in. They don't even lead with that, right? They show what they do. It's hands-on, it's experiential, it's all project-based. And in doing the work, they learn the math. So they don't even know they're doing it, but they're doing it, if that makes sense, right? So that's how they help support these cohort of students through. And they have really record success, and it's the first of its kind quantum technician certification that's been developed in the country. So they're modeled. So we want to bring another team back to see it. We have folk who are coming from Florida seeing it, folk from Illinois seeing it. Like they're kind of the leaders where they're now offering this training broadly. And it was just really delightful to bring a team there. So we were all, kind of thinking through, what do we do with all of this? What does this mean for our region? Where are the jobs, right, in this area? And then how do we stand up something that aligns with the jobs that's in this area for that economic development piece? So we've got a debriefing conversation actually today at 3 o'clock where we start thinking through all of those things. Also, CSM is hosting in May 20th, our own quantum forum, kind of like a day-long quantum conference where we have folk from University of Maryland and from the state and other industry partners coming in to demystify what quantum is for our partners and where the industry opportunities are and how quantum connects with all of these different industries. Advanced manufacturing and IT and so many areas are connected to quantum. So we're having that and hosting that on May 20th. So we're leaning into spaces. CSM is leaning into spaces where it doesn't just reflect what the jobs are today. We have to lean into spaces of where the jobs are tomorrow and beyond, so that Melanies and others, right, are prepared and equipped for where the jobs are going. And we have to think through what are the signals. The futurist thinking is what are the signals that we see now that point to the future of work, and how are we positioning ourselves so that the investment you're making in CSM is sustained and that it grows and that it has a solid return on its investment. So wanted to share that with you about that, and thank you for your support in sending Kathy with us. We really, really enjoyed it. We just had a really good time too. It was a really good thing. So we've talked about, our governor's talked about, there are 3 workforce sectors, right, that he's saying that we're looking at broadly in the state of Maryland. One is aerospace and aviation. One is cyber and IT and AI and quantum, and the other one is computational biology. So what I've shared with you today are our focus areas around 2 of those, right? We set up the first of its kind aviation maintenance technology program in the state. And we have a community college partner in Baltimore who's now trying to say, hey, can we see what you did? We want to do the same thing up here. We got 2 congressional earmarks for those, and we have to go through paperwork and all the process and all that kind of stuff, but we've been tagged to get 2, so we're grateful for that. And then we're leaning into this quantum space, trying to unpack it, learn it, understand it ourselves, right? I'm an English teacher by trade, quite frankly, right? So learning how this works, understanding it, not being timid to lean into it, but leaning into it, and asking my teams to do the same, and then sponsoring this quantum forum that comes up in May. And then thinking outside the box when we think about our healthcare pathways, right? So traditionally, we have not done weekend and evening clinicals, but we've got a wait list of 40 plus students, and we've got employers that need jobs. So we've got to start thinking outside the box about how we get students through the pipeline and get them into our local hospitals and make sure they have what they need, as well as standing up new hospital programs. So we are deeply grateful to all of you. When you have to make really tough decisions about where you allocate your resources, we are so grateful that you have continued to sustain your support for your community college. I can assure you that we take that investment very, very seriously, and that we're trying to think through ways that we can leverage those resources that gives us the most return for our students as we are growing in all the ways that are great and wonderful, and trying to make sure that we don't ever have to do that on the backs of our students. And we have not raised tuition in the past 3 years. We have not. And our hope and goal is not to, because we want our students to have the most affordable opportunity that they can. So thank you for your time. I went a little bit off script, but I think I've spoken enough. And I know when to put the mic down. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Hance.
Oh,
We brag all the time about the community college system we have here in Southern Maryland, and that's because of the great leadership we've had, and you've just continued that tradition since you've been here. I do have a question about dual enrollment.
Sure.
What's the trend for dual enrollment?
Our trend for dual enrollment is growth. We are trending. I mentioned some of the data that shows our numbers. So our two, I think, growth pipelines that we're seeing is in dual enrollment and in adult learners. Those are the two where we see the growth. And as we think through expansion of CTE pathways, for example, right, and next fall, we'll have continued growth. We stood up in St. Mary's County, a teacher, they have a TAM program. I don't think Calvert has a TAM program. It's a teacher academy at the high school level, but Charles and St. Mary's has it, right? So we know that we have a teacher shortage here as well. So they have a TAM academy. So they started their first fall cohort of high school students that came through their TAM academy to us as seniors. And the goal is for them to get their Associate of Art in Teaching and to kind of continue on to help either as paraprofessionals or going into the classrooms as teachers. So we have growth all around thinking through this dual enrollment. So part of it's through Blueprint, and part of it they're even looking at applying for the Maryland Grow Your Own grant. So I don't know if you've heard about that, but we're doing application materials for that just this week, which will also help either folk who are currently in the school system and they say, hey, you know, we're really interested in transitioning to this role in the school system. You can take your current employers and fund them to come back to school. And that's what this particular program does. So we're looking at the Maryland Grow Your Own for teaching and education. But we have a lot of tentacles with dual enrollment that connects, and we're expanding what those opportunities are. And we're excited about doing that because the data shows, when we look at data that talks about high school students who've taken college classes, they are much more likely to complete their baccalaureate degree than high school students who have not. And that's because they've been able to try it, cut their teeth on it, build momentum because they've earned some credits. And so you feel like you're closer to the end game. They've had smaller class sizes. They learn how to navigate a college community and a college system. So when we look at the data that Aspen's provide and others, students who take dual enrollment credits or early college credits tend to have greater success and likelihood of getting baccalaureate degree success. So it's a really good return on our investment to continue to support that population.
And I'm very happy to hear that you're going to expand your KILLS curriculum for our kids that want to follow that path.
Absolutely.
Just appreciate that, and Melanie, want to wish you all the best. You know, every year she brings us these wonderful examples of what comes out of our college system here, and you've held that line very high. So we greatly appreciate what you've done, and want to wish you all the best. And I wish we could provide you more resources, but we just don't have them to give.
We understand. We thank you for giving what you can, and know that we'll do the most we can with what you're able to do, because we know it's a tight time all around. We understand that, and you guys have been really so generous and consistent in your giving for CSM, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, just thank you.
Always great to see you.
Always great to see you too.
And the college is great because you are a dynamic leader. The numbers speak for themselves, and every year it's just better and better. When we think the school couldn't get any better, you come in with enthusiasm, innovation, thinking outside the box for sure, and we continue to grow. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Dual enrollment, I have the third grandchild in dual enrollment.
Yeah.
Another thing I think it does, aside from the money aspect, it helps these kids who are seniors to mature.
Yes.
It really does. They start taking on more responsibility a year sooner than what they would have.
It helps them with that transition.
It definitely does.
Because college can be tough for a young person trying to come in right out the gate.
It
right?
can.
So it's the runway. You give them a little bit of a runway into that world.
Most definitely. So thank you so much. And thank you for joining us today. I wrote down your major for forensic science because I have a sophomore at Northern who wants to go into that. So I will be passing on what you have accomplished. And WVU is a good school. Don't party too much.
She's not old enough to party.
But they're all party schools. I have found that out. So you'll do well. You are motivated. You will do well. Our best to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
And
much. Have a great
Pamela,
afternoon.
thank you for what you do.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for advocating for the community college. We
Absolutely.
appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
So again, I'm very excited to see your collaboration with CTA, CTE. I think that'll go a long ways. And I'll tell you, these programs, you know, we have a challenge with keeping our kids in the county because it's hard to find startup of housing that is affordable for our blue-collar workers. However, if we get these nursing programs and we get these different programs going, I think that'll help improve things quite a bit as far as retaining our kids here in the county.
Absolutely. Well, we're certainly willing to do our part and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you all.
Have a great day.
Yes,
Thank
you
you.
too.
Takes us to our final presentation, which is a briefing by Amazon Web Services, Miss Becky Ford. Good morning.
Good morning.
Actually, it's afternoon, almost. We're right on the cusp.
Oh, right on it.
You can have a seat if you'd
Come right to the
like.
middle.
So, as I said in the beginning of the meeting, there was some chatter on Facebook about data centers, and we asked that AWS come in, since the job posting that showed up on Facebook seemed to have spawned most of the conversation that was going on. We didn't get a confirmation until late yesterday evening that we were going to have a representative here to join us. So we were unable to make the 24-hour notice for the Open Meetings Act. We did add it to our agenda this morning when we amended our agenda. Everybody voted for that agenda, and we have that representation here to brief us on where AWS is with their project or their hiring process or whatever the case may be. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Good afternoon. I'm here, as you mentioned, at your request to speak to or acknowledge our interest in investing in Calvert County. We've taken the opportunity to interact with both your the economic development resources available through the county and planning resources available through the county to evaluate what an investment might look like. As you know, there is significant growth in the demand for cloud services, and Calvert County offers a number of assets that are of interest and make sense for us to consider investment. Those include infrastructure as well as a business-friendly climate, and as you just heard, some great workforce training resources. No plans or permits have been filed. We don't have any agreements in place. I'm not here to make an announcement. I can't provide any detail on the formalities of capital investment or job creation. So we will continue through our due diligence process, and if and when the appropriate time comes up, we would anticipate filing preliminary plans and going through the public process according to the county code.
Okay, could you touch a little bit more on the job postings and how common practice is for your company to do that?
Sure. It is common practice for us to evaluate new locations, opportunities for new investment, months, sometimes years in advance, and that is the case. We regularly post job openings as part of that due diligence. It does not indicate an official investment or a commitment. It is part of our normal process.
Okay.
I'm concerned with the concerns that our constituents have, because I have the same concerns. I would love to be able to pull together a meeting with you and subject matter experts that could hear from our constituents in Calvert County. Do you think that is possible?
Absolutely. I would be happy to work with you on a convenient date and time where subject matter experts from my team can support an informational session that is open to residents and folks in the community to learn more about data center investment and what typically comes along with AWS data center development in a community. So happy to talk about all of the infrastructure aspects as well as the community benefits and otherwise. The level of detail that I would be able to provide will vary based on how far along we are in the process, but I'm happy to pull together that group and come back to Calvert County.
Thank you.
So Ms. Ford, there's a lot of concern in our community about the NDA that we signed with you all, and just want to make sure that you clarify that through this NDA, we've not made any deals for any tax incentives, any relief on any requirements to build here. That NDA was clearly so you could do your exploration in a cloaked fashion.
Correct.
And
we do appreciate all of the information that the county has made available regarding processes associated with normal course of business, permitting, plan review, all different aspects of that due diligence process, and there are no agreements or incentives in place between AWS and the county.
Okay. I appreciate you taking the time to come here. I think it clarified a lot of I think it put some facts out there, I think is the best thing to say. And hopefully that, people will talk about what's been discussed here today.
So I do want to ask, we in our research, we found that most data center clients are different. Could you talk about a little bit about the things you do when you go into a community and the interaction that you have and things that you do, because it's a lot different than what we're used to.
Sure, happy to touch on that a little bit. The efforts that we engage in when we invest in a community are focused on ensuring that we are a good community citizen, that we are giving back in the same way that the county and residents are helping to support our operations. We want to make sure that we have a place where we can attract talented workforce, and that our workforce has a desirable place to live and raise their families. That support can range anywhere from support for nonprofit organizations and initiatives. Examples of the groups that attended today's meeting, whether it's community health or food insecurities, we support similar organizations regularly. And in addition to that, we do a lot with local school districts to support programming for students in STEM and STEAM programs. And then in some instances where there is a community need and we can help support recreational opportunities or public spaces, we also invest in those projects as well.
Okay. Again, I just want to thank you for coming down or coming up, or where'd you come from?
I came from the south. It's a little bit sunnier when I left home this morning, but I always enjoy being in Calvert County.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Commissioner
Mr. President.
Ireland, we do have Commissioner
Oh.
Cox on the line.
Okay, well, Mr. President,
No, go ahead.
I have something. I move the Board of County Commissioners impose an immediate moratorium for a period of 24 months on any approvals, permits, rezoning, site plans, construction, authorizations, or other official actions related to a data center development until a comprehensive environmental impact statement evaluating land, air, and water impacts is completed and formally presented to the public.
Do you think it would take 24 months?
I believe so.
And what do you base that on?
Because by the time you get your groups together, get your studies, get back, and give people the proper time to respond and get questions asked, I think 24 months on a project this large, something this new that we've never experienced, with all the misinformation that's out there, gives the community attempt that if this is a good thing, it gives the community an opportunity to be behind it and not oppose it. I'm the only one sitting up here that lived through the LNG facility. When the residents were told about LNG facility, they believed they had an opportunity to stop this facility. They believed that they had an opportunity to express their concerns. That wasn't the case. When they were given these public hearings, basically it was done, and they were just being explained what was going to happen, and all the explanation in the world couldn't prepare them for what took place. So being that the way that was rolled out, I wasn't on that board. I didn't make that decision. I didn't make the decision when the nuke plant came. I didn't make the decision when the LNG facility there, but I was living on the road, driving through months and months of just construction debris so bad that LNG handed out tokens. So basically, we messed up your car, here's a token, go to the car wash. It was one of the most offensive things I've ever seen. Residents had no say. And all of the things that were supposed to happen never did. And unfortunately, I am on this one. My name is on that. I'm going to die here. My kids will probably die here. So I'm not going to avoid anybody in Giant Food or Safeway. And I get sick and tired of nobody giving me the benefit of the doubt to say my piece. All my cart's on the take, my cart's on the take, whatever with that. I understand the frustration, but this is my piece today to say it. It's no disrespect to you, ma'am, or your company or anything at all like that. I do keep the back room quiet. I don't talk what's out there. I do follow procedure. So this is my time to say, hey, maybe it's the best thing in the world. I don't know that, but my residents don't know that either, and we're the one that's going to have to live with it. So for me, I made them a promise that I couldn't sign off unless they made the call. And no disrespect, I need it in writing, because last time when my folks were told things, it just never materialized.
And I second that motion, and the reason why I do is because we're here today because our citizenry feels that we have not shared information with them. There was an article in a paper about a month ago, and I spoke on data centers. I hear one thing about data centers, and I hear another thing. When I think I have an answer, I don't have the answer. And this is a very, very big investment, and our people need to have a say in this. They need to be able to come to the table, and they need to have their questions answered, and they need to decide, is this something Calvert County would want? And they have not been part of this process. I feel I don't even understand the whole process, and that's why I have seconded the motion.
So as part of your process, have you done environmental impacts?
We do. We do a number of extensive studies as part of the due diligence process. Studies required as part of any county permitting process, as well as state permitting process and federal regulations accordingly. So a number of studies have been done. I'm not a subject matter expert in terms of our permitting and environmental studies, but again, I'm happy to arrange an opportunity for those folks to come and speak to residents and citizens of Calvert County.
They need to know.
Commissioners, if I may, in order to impose a moratorium, there are certain procedures that need to take place. There needs to be a public hearing and then an ordinance. There's due process that needs to move forward prior to any moratorium taking place. So just so the board is cognizant.
So can I make a motion to
process.
put that in place?
You can make a motion to put it in place. If you're going to amend your motion, I would advise to move.
Is that
forward
what I
in
need to
manner.
make it legal? I need to amend it
You
to
need to amend your
start the
motion to
process?
start the process.
Do you need me to reread through the whole thing and start
Yes,
with?
yes, please. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so to amend the motion, I want to start the process to begin the process for a moratorium. Is that correct, County Attorney?
Yes, if you're amending your motion to reflect that, to begin the process.
Okay,
So,
and so with that said, now read the motion again?
yes,
Is that correct?
yes.
Then I move that the Board of County Commissioners impose an immediate moratorium for a period of 24 months on any approvals, permits, rezoning, site plan reviews, construction, authorizations, or other official actions related to data center development until a comprehensive environmental impact statement evaluating land, air, and water impacts is completed and formally presented to the public.
Okay, so the first part of your motion just said move forward with the process, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Madam Attorney, would you like to reiterate the motion, please?
I can't recall everything from my understanding.
So we have it
Commissioner-
recorded, so
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes, it
Hart's
is.
motion is fine.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so discussion. I understand Commissioner Cox is online.
Commissioner Cox is online. You can unmute yourself at this time.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Good afternoon, and this is Commissioner Cox, and I apologize for not being in attendance today as I am currently participating in a recertification class. In light of many questions and concerns on the media posts that I've received over the past several days, I would like to direct staff for a town hall meeting within the next 2 weeks for District 2, so that in this town hall would be open to all county residents, and the purpose of this meeting is to provide information regarding the potential and current impacts of a data center in and around our community, as well as to address questions and concerns directly. And Commissioner Hart, I understand where you're coming from, but the other questions I bring to light would be the legislations in Annapolis that we got coming down to us. And I just want to hear from my District 2 residents and citizens to hear, like I said, I got many emails and phone calls and Facebook requests last night, but I need to hear more pros and cons for this. So I would like to see if staff could get this together within 2 weeks, and before I go with the other motion.
Can only have one motion on the floor at a time.
So your motion's going to have to go on hold, Commissioner Cox.
So this isn't a motion. This would just be to direct staff for a town hall meeting for District 2.
Okay, so
Commissioner Hart, we all share the frustration of what's been going on. My only concern with your motion is set a 2-year time limit. If we could, it could happen sooner. It might take longer, but just if they already have the information and we can get that information out and start this process in 2 weeks or whatever, I just don't want to lock us into, so we've got everything ready in the next whatever.
I think the public will decide once they get information out to them and all the studies.
You
are
said
done.
in your motion 2 years.
I did. So if the public's satisfied and the 2 years still has time on it, I'm quite sure they're going to be vocal enough to let us know that, to even revisit it. But for right now, I think it's more important to get it right than to get it fast.
So, Madam Attorney, $24 months is 24 months.
As I noted before, nothing can happen anyway. If you're saying you're going to start the process, and you vote on starting the process, nothing can happen today by way of a resolution or anything of that nature. The motion, from what the amended motion was, to begin the process of exploring a moratorium. It wasn't to impose a moratorium. So if you're going to propose to start the process, many things need to be put in place, and
What
many
would that
things
look
need
like?
to happen prior to that.
What would that look like? To give expectations.
An ordinance would need to be drafted. A public hearing notice would have to be drafted. There's notice that would have to be given with respect to the public hearing with a moratorium. There needs to be things put in place as far as what the permitting process is going to look like, what applications, geographic areas are affected, things of that nature.
Well, isn't that what part of the study would be?
There, without speaking to everything, I'm sure there will be other things obviously that will be involved, but obviously we can't know that all today. And I think that it would be remiss in trying to note everything today, because I'm sure something will be missed, and I don't want it going out that, well, you said X, Y, and Z, and now you're saying something else.
Well, that's why with my motion, that's why I put it to where all the environmental things are impacted in there. And to start the process, then basically I would assume would be probably Jason and JR up here with starting the process for that ordinance. Couldn't that be done within 2 weeks, work session it at that point, and then vote it in?
It would not happen in 2 weeks. It would not happen in 2 weeks.
So to manage expectations, give me some expectations.
Linda Turner,
So-
County.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, we would need to advertise for this, so we'll go back to the team and have a discussion and provide a timeline to you probably within the next day. Does that work?
So, Commissioner Hart, your motion in there, you said a couple things. One is the 2-year moratorium, the other is to hear our citizens.
Mhm.
So the hearing would be to hear our citizens on whether or not they want to move forward with the moratorium. Is that what you're?
Sure. Because until we get them what it looks like, we don't know what it looks like. I mean, it's ludicrous to something on this scale to not have any checks and
absolutely.
balances. We have no clue. I mean, I've never seen this young lady in my life, to my knowledge. Okay, unless I've seen you at the grocery store. Okay, so for something on this scale, all of these things need to be done so they get an opportunity to see it, think about it, how it affects their town. LNG opened up 868 feet from a house. No one saw that coming. You know what they told my folks though down there? They said, well, you had to know when you moved next to it. No, you don't. You don't. When you sit with a real estate person, they don't go, hey, they're building an airport over there tomorrow. I mean, you just don't know those things. I mean, not always anyhow. And they will dictate how fast this goes, in my opinion.
I'm good.
The bottom line is, we were elected by the public. We represent the public. And the public is speaking. And we have got to take into consideration what the public wants. It's incumbent upon us to come with the information. Is this going to impact us environmentally? I don't think anybody sitting out there is aware of why our electric bills are so high now. People want answers to that. People just want a myriad of answers. And it's incumbent upon us to give you those answers and for you to determine the fate of Calvert County. And I just feel very strongly about that. And if we can move swiftly, if we can get answers, we'll pivot, but we'll pivot at your direction.
So I have a bit of a long statement that I think I can read that I might touch on a lot of this conversation. And I think government does a very bad job of painting pictures and putting the whole message out there. I really do. And I think that's something we've failed at. But I'm going to read through it. I mean, like I say, it's a little bit lengthy, but I think it covers a lot of facts. So about 2.5 years ago, the commissioners heard there were companies exploring putting data centers in Calvert County. The Constellation property that we all know is a power plant was the location that was being discussed. This entire property is zoned as heavy industrial. We immediately began educating ourselves at that point on the pros and cons of data centers. We wanted to determine what impact the data center would have on the quality of life we all are all interested in maintaining. We visited a data center. We spoke with leadership of Loudoun County, Virginia, as well as Mecklenburg County, Virginia, who was in here, and Frederick County on their experience with data center development. We held town hall meetings in September to solicit feedback from our citizens on their concerns surrounding data center development. We researched the environmental impacts of data centers to determine what restrictions could be put into place to protect our environment, our bays, our aquifers, and our other tributaries here in the county. We looked at air pollution and any other health risks that could potentially affect our citizens. The most common concerns were that data centers would be cooled by water from our aquifer, that diesel generators would cause noise and air pollution, with the biggest concern being electric consumption. Well, we know firsthand electric bills are significantly higher than they've ever been, and they're anticipated to rise. PJM, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Maryland, is the main distributor for electricity. They govern electricity in 13 states surrounding us. They control the prices of electricity, and they determine what the power grid can sustain. No matter where a data center goes, anywhere within that 13-state region, our electric bills are going up. We decided it would be best to address these concerns via text amendment, which we did here, one of our meetings in February. We had a work session. A text amendment was drafted that addressed the type of diesel generators that can be used, prohibited wells from being drilled on data center property for cooling purposes, and that all potable water on a data center property would be metered to ensure there's no excessive water consumption. Additionally, any infrastructure improvements would have to be paid for by the end user. That text amendment is still being drafted, and there'll be another work session on it. None of the heavy industrial zoned areas are near residential areas, thus eliminating and minimizing noise pollution. We also learned through this process that gray water is often used to cool data centers, which would benefit our county as it would minimize or possibly eliminate the need for land acquisition for additional spray fields that are used currently to mitigate excess gray water. Traffic congestion has always been a legitimate concern for Calvert County citizens. When we looked at employment for data centers, we quickly realized that the effect they would have on traffic once operation would be minimal. During the construction phase, the traffic generated would have effects on normal traffic flows from certain times of the day. During the construction phase, there would be more than likely hundreds of jobs available to tradesmen. On average, it seems each data center, once operational, would host about 50 jobs. We know most of our citizenry does not want high-density growth, and we're with you. We don't either. Residential growth costs the taxpayers money, ensuring adequate public facility requirements are met. Our biggest challenge to date has been finding ways to increase revenue. Just as most of our household budgets have increased, the cost that our county has paid for goods and services over the last few years has also increased exponentially. Significant costs have been passed down from the state, specifically blueprint educational costs. Board of Education budget alone has increased by more than $34 million above MOE over the past 3 years. We are anticipating a request for additional funding this year, but we want to ensure our schools are at the top and our educators and support staff salaries are competitive. The public safety budget has increased significantly and will continue to increase as paid emergency medical services come on board. We are supplementing the volunteers to ensure our citizens' needs are met. Our Sheriff's Office budget continues to increase as technology costs are on the rise, aging vehicle replacement costs increase, and competitive salaries remain a challenge. Living in the safest county in the state of Maryland does come at a cost. The potential revenue for Calvert County that could come from a data center development being discussed here today has the potential to be transforming for our citizens. Local businesses and workers, both union and non-union, have benefited substantially in surrounding areas from data center development. Non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, are a common tool used when economic development opportunities present themselves. The nature of doing business is competitive, and NDAs prevent businesses from having access to business practices and proprietary information, to include financials. Signing an NDA does not approve a project. It does not commit the county to anything. It does not override zoning laws or skip public process. In 1968, there was a group of commissioners who were being met with a significant challenge, much like what we see here today. At that time, Calvert County was one of the poorest counties in the state of Maryland, had one of the worst school districts. They needed foresight to determine whether they should proceed with the building of a nuclear power plant. No social media to contend with, no internet to help with research, and everyone around them thinking nuclear power was to be the end for Calvert County. The power plant has been operational for more than 50 years and has always been one of the greatest community partners. It changed the ways of life for Calvert Countyans forever. Constellation has also done their job to protect our environment and to address community needs. As I stated earlier, our electric bills are going to go up whether a data center comes to Calvert County or goes to another of the 13 states in PJM's region. We would potentially benefit financially by having a data center come to Calvert County, and it may help relieve the tax burden for us in future generations. The board will not sacrifice our environment, our citizens, our integrity, or the future of Calvert County for any project. There are public processes that are in place to ensure the proper steps are taken before any shovels go in the ground. Thank you.
So, I'm just trying to think through this, and this, until they have a project to actually talk about, what are we going to do through this process?
Well, I guess this gives the public an opportunity now to, there's been the worst kept secret in Calvert County. I'm at a funeral and somebody's telling me a data center's coming, and I said, well, obviously you know more than I do. There's job listings out there that people are sending me all the time that there must be a place if there's a job listing. So obviously, I guess we're at a point, this young lady sitting here today, that there's something to talk about. And so since there's something to talk about, I guess we need to know what that is. Maybe what your proposal is. I'm quite sure you guys didn't get here by mistake. So I'm sure you probably have an idea of what you would like out of your project, how many buildings, what you would choose it to do. So I would hope that you would soon be able to have that to show to us, that we could show to them. How you plan to power it, how you plan to cool it, what you believe the environmental impact is. I'm sure you've done this somewhere before. So I'm sure when I get on this thing, it probably talks to something. I'm almost a dial-up guy. I'm that bad. That you maybe have examples in other jurisdictions, but we know nothing. At least I don't anyway. Speaking for myself, I know nothing. And somebody told me when it comes to a data center, if you've seen one, you've seen one. That they all can be a little different and they all can have different demands. But I don't know this, and I'm supposed to know. So when folks look at me, they have to say, well, you know, my God, Mike, it's in your district. If you don't know about it, either you're lying or you're asleep at the wheel. And I don't know how I'm supposed to respond to that when I didn't even know you were coming until last night. No disrespect to you or anybody else. I guess, you know, like to say life happens fast or however that commercial goes. But regardless, you're here. And, you know, when you see things on Facebook, so I've been attacked ever since I filed. From fake people to all kinds of things. So I tend to try to sift through it the best I can to what's real and what's not. But this has been a little bizarre. So I guess once you have something that we can offer the public, and preferably you would be there to explain it, and you're professionals, give them an opportunity. When I watched the LNG presentation, and I can only go on what I've seen in the past, they were doing all those things, except the decision had already been made. And that's just not fair. To be a good partner, you need community support, as you know. And the nuclear plant's been phenomenal. They've been phenomenal. The school I went to, I mean, wouldn't have had hardly anything without that. It's and the times I've toured it, the money and detail they put into safety and everything, it's second to none. So, and I really don't know the correlation between who's on first and what's on second with all that. And if I don't know, the folks probably don't know either. But I don't know, a lot of them might know a lot more than I do about it. But if you and your professionals and whoever the public would want to be there to help explain it, I just think you got a lot better chance of success if they're with you instead of against you. I had to stand on with my business, I take product out to the car, or if somebody buys something, I put it in the car. And I had to listen to over a year and a half people screaming QRA at me, showing me jugs of brown water. They hadn't even drilled in there, but I mean, it was everything and anything. And I have no desire to go through that again. And that wasn't by my hand, but this would be by my hand as one of the 5. So in being the representative down there, I don't want that on my watch or my name on it. If you go down there and they think you're the greatest thing since sliced bread, then I guess that's how it is. But I mean, I think they should have a voice in that. No offense.
Commissioners, you have a motion on the floor?
But we're still discussing.
Okay.
And I agree with you, Mike, because I don't know what their project is. And until they have one, I don't know what we talk about. I'm just trying to think through the proper process to get that out.
Because you know what happens, and we've seen it. We've seen it with growth. It's allowed, so it happens. And then a board goes, well, what was I supposed to do about it? And I was always told I'm a day late and $1 short. So here I am today. Nothing's out of the ground. Nothing's happened. No one's harmed. This is day one. This is finally something to talk about. You know, we've heard about people say, you know, getting advisors and things of that nature for what we don't know. Well, now you are sitting here in front of us. Seems like we have something to talk about.
And the proper process has been given to us by our constituents. We could list a page full of concerns and questions that they have that are going to have to be addressed before a shovel goes in the ground.
Mr. President?
Yes.
Could I ask Becky how soon her team could put a presentation together before us?
Happy to respond to that.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Commissioner Cox, I will do everything possible to make that happen within the next 2 weeks. I think that's the time frame that I heard. I can assure you that we do not have all of the details, but we have a lot of information that will directly address the questions and concerns raised today, and the folks on my team are anxious to be able to interact with folks in the community and answer questions and help provide an education and information about data center investment, because we do believe that it will be a good opportunity, a transformational opportunity for Calvert County. And Constellation has certainly set the bar for a good corporate citizen, and we very much look to that as a measure of how we aspire to interact with folks in the community and hopefully future employees who are currently in the school system and in the community college education system.
Thank you, Becky. Commissioner Hart.
Sir?
can I make an amendment to your motion? Would you consider listening to amendment to your motion?
No, sir, and no disrespect, but I learned on a future project, I pushed back on the county attorney one time, and I've learned to regret it ever since. I don't think this harms anybody. I think it's a safeguard in place for the public, and it's no disrespect to anyone. Just past experiences has told me, kind of like in business, sign documents for everybody's protection. Kind of how the NDA was spoken of today about where people didn't want their business in the street. Once again, no disrespect. I just think if we all know where we're coming from, a ordinance in place that allows my citizens the opportunity to have real input before something can happen. And maybe they get just really blown away with how great everything is, and everybody's satisfied. But I want the protection in place for my community.
So, Commissioner Hart, what I was going to propose was that it's going to take a little bit of time for our legal team to get your motion in process. So I was going to make a motion for the town hall to keep on going maybe the 16th. And maybe Becky's team can get to us at the end of that week or the beginning of the following week, the 23rd, and then we could put a vote up maybe on the 24th.
Well, that would be a second motion. I mean, my motion is fine. That informational thing, I don't even know how to tag a timeline because until you have your information there, like say for me, I don't want to get this motion. It's already pretty
It's amended.
yeah, and it's pretty detailed. So for me, no disrespect, I'm okay with my motion.
Okay.
And
Any
with
others?
respect to a public hearing timeline, like our county administrator spoke of earlier, it's a minimum of 2 weeks for notice as far as a public hearing is concerned, gathering with staff and exploring other options in the process, if indeed that's the board's desire today.
Say that to me again, I'm sorry.
I said, if respect to, like our county administrator spoke of earlier, with exploring a proposed moratorium, the public hearing process is going to at least take notice of 2 weeks, and there will be other things that would need to be in place prior to that. So it's not anything that's going to happen next week or even the week after. I just wanted the commissioners to be mindful of anything that they decide today.
But this is step one.
Exploring, if the board desires that staff begin exploring the possibility of a moratorium. Like I said earlier, it can't happen today.
No, but this motion would direct staff to start that
To
process.
start
the
exploring,
process. Right.
if that's the desire of the commissioners today.
And but just to be clear, and then it would come back, I guess, whatever the time frame is.
At this point, I would not be able to say what a time frame would be. I'm venturing to say it would at least be a month or so. I mean, because by the time you get every staff to gather the information, there are a number of different departments: Department of Public Works, Department of Planning and Zoning, County Administrator's Office, their legal office. Then you get the information together, you advertise. It's going to take a minute. It's not going to be, like I said, next week or week after. I would venture to say, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, at least a month.
At least.
I would say that
yes.
because
Okay, but this is step one.
if we advertise by this Friday, the earliest we could have a public hearing would be March 24th, with, as you know, is our public hearing for our budget. So we would ask for at least an additional week or two for the public hearing advertisement.
Okay.
And in the meantime, we can pull together a meeting and bring the public in and have them voice their concerns and get their concerns addressed.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, and we've had discussion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Go ahead.
So, Mr. President, I just want to be totally understanding of this motion? Is this to explore it, or is this to put it in place?
It can't be put in place until it gets advertised, Commissioner Cox.
And a public
This is
hearing is
step
held.
one. This is step one to get it to that. Am I correct, County Attorney?
Yes, it can't happen today, obviously.
But the
It can't
motion
happen
is-
today. To
is-
explore the possibility.
Start the process for a moratorium.
Yeah, the possibility of a moratorium, to explore that process. That's what the amended motion was from Commissioner Hart.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. And we had our discussion. Any further discussion?
None.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Mr. Cox?
Yes, I.
Okay. All those opposed? Motion carries. All right.
Thank you.
We're going to hear a public, I guess that takes us to commissioner reports.
No, public comments.
I'm sorry, public comment.
Thank you,
My
Mrs.
fault.
Ford.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Stay there. I think we probably have questions for you. You can stay wherever.
There are no public questions of Ms. Ford during the public comment. Public comment is strictly public comments. There will be no back and forth. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could come up one by one, state your name.
My name's Marianne
And
Adams.
one second, ma'am.
Yeah?
The clerk is keeping time, so.
Got it right here.
And you can speak clearly into the mic so everyone can hear you, please.
Oh, you gotta read your statements.
One. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
To maintain decorum, the Board of County Commissioners adheres to established procedural rules first adopted in 1989 that are applied in a viewpoint-neutral way only to genuinely disruptive or threatening behavior. As an invited speaker addressing topics pertaining to county government, please observe the following guidelines. 1. All remarks and conduct must be respectful and refrain from personal attacks, inflammatory language, or disruptive behavior. 2. Prior to commencing your remarks, please state your full name for the record. 3. Individual speakers are allocated 2 minutes. Designated representatives speaking on behalf of an organization or a group are allotted 5 minutes. Individuals seeking to influence governmental decisions are categorized as lobbyists and are required to register with the Ethics Commission prior to their engagement with the board. Thank you, ma'am.
My name is Marianne Adams. I am a resident of Chesapeake Beach, and I have 2 things that I want to be considered. Is why does a billion-dollar company get to pass on its bills to us among the 13 states, however many states are covered? And what do we do to mitigate that? We shouldn't be paying as residents for a billion-dollar company to come in and pass on its electric bills to us. I'm in multiple groups, county groups, of people who constantly need help with electric bills, who can't pay their bills already. And then secondly, I want to know how much money this billion-dollar company provides us to perform independent studies. They're going to give us a study, and it's going to say whatever they want it to say. They have tons of money to be able to pad folks' pockets and get their studies to say what they want to say. But how much money do we as a county get to perform our own independent studies provided by them? How much money do they provide us to perform independent studies? Because everything Ireland read sounded great. Let's sign up tomorrow. But where's the counterpoints to that? These are things that I think should be considered. I also think that before anybody votes yes on this, we need to be able to see what their potential kickback is for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Megan Farringer, and I'm a representative from Save Lusby Incorporation. I will be speaking on behalf of my organization. So good afternoon, Commissioners. I attended the Board of Appeals meeting on January 28th, 2026, specifically focusing on the request for case 25-4238 to determine tolling privileges for a long-standing project, the Lusby Villas. In this inquiry, it was speculated that a member of Planning and Zoning was asked if tolling can be granted since both the land developer and Planning and Zoning are in an ongoing litigation with a small local nonprofit. It was presented to that board that planning and zoning members stated that it was not in the authority of that group to provide that tolling, that it's in fact you who gave that determination. This answer did not appease the plaintiff, and he continued to argue with the Board of Appeals that there was no answer actually given. But there was. It was that you had to grant this. What was most disheartening in this meeting was that the Board of Appeals knew this, especially since this board is made of former county commissioners and is the father of a current county commissioner. Yet the act was still entertained, and it even got to the point where a fellow Board of Appeals member, before proceeding, asked to speak to council because they knew that this would open up a legal can of worms. But a voting happened, and it disregarded the legal concern, and it approved the tolling request, knowing that, in a direct quote from that meeting, that it would be the, quote, sword you would fall on, undermining the planning and zoning's guidance and even you, Board of County Commissioners, effectively approving something that the Board of Appeals could blatantly see was not within their jurisdiction. I know you're very much aware of the opposition the town of Lusby has about the development of the villas. We know you've heard the outcries of environmental damage in the critical area, the unsustainable infrastructure in the town, and the questionable administrative approvals to get us here. So adding this outcry to the questionable ruling of tolling is the last thing you all want on your desk. But in retrospect, this tolling would not have been a problem if, in the first place, if this project was done and handled proper, if appropriate up-to-date studies were conducted prior to the final subdivision plan, if documents weren't allegedly altered and executed with changes in density, and if there was more community input besides 3 previous meetings in 2024 to address every concern that Lusby has. If everything was done with documented appropriate processes in the first place, there wouldn't have been a need for a petition for judicial review. There wouldn't be a need to go to the Maryland Appellate Court, and this project wouldn't be running on a timeline crunch because it would have been done legally. Instead, we're here, Lusby trying to fight for some sense of protection for a fragile area and a large-scale project that's going to uproot the areas sold to the highest bidder, while we're pointed at and laughed at for trying to stand up for our community. Something we felt compelled to do since we were forgotten about this entire process. We are here today to ask you to please listen to us. We are doing everything we can to protect some semblance of Lusby from being paved into another concrete kingdom. Reject the tolling approval to this project can serve as an example to all developers and to local government that due process and following popular regulations, requirements, and community involvement will bear better fruit in the long run. That shoving this development on us and telling us to deal with it, knowing that if we did want to fight it, that you'll just grant a pause to the project. Sending the message to us that this is just the way things are. By rejecting the approval, you are telling the powers that be that if you don't follow the proper laws and regulations, you happen to be challenged by the community, there are consequences for not being thorough. Let Lusby fight against what we should be subject to be dealt with if this is approved in its totality. What our local tax dollars would be forced to shell out for a project that could be developed, then sold off with no other cares to the impacts afterwards. Please reject this Board of Appeals ruling and let us fight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Susan Smith. I live in the Chesapeake Beach area. This is my first time coming to one of the meetings. I appreciate the open system. And I was just taking some notes, and I was surprised under Destination Wellness, they were saying that the root causes of the people coming to the emergency room, 35% are people that can't afford their heating and utility bills, and 25% were people with food insecurity. That's 50% of the people that are drawing on the emergency rooms having issues with food insecurity and health. And then CSM was here, and they want to start a new quantum mechanics group. Quantum mechanics feeds quantum computing. Quantum computing is going to be much larger than AI. That is the next huge technological breakthrough, and if we can bring quantum mechanics to Calvert County, we will be the shining star of the East Coast if we can have that in our, so just letting you guys know it's something to really look at. But now we're talking about the data centers, and these programs, these great programs that help make our county strong, they do need more money. You know, the federal government has decided to cut funding that the states were expecting and are hitting blue states harder. So we do need some, more income. I think most people in the county would say we just don't want to have a negative environmental impact. We need good architecture, we need great engineering. We now have the Ohio EPA saying that their data centers, well, they're just going to have to add some pollutants to the water, and it's just the cost of doing business. You know, we can't have that in Calvert County. We have to, our water and our beauty is our lifeline. So the community wants reassurances that whatever they came up with in their engineering is cutting edge, awesome. They have a really good design for how they're going to, you know, dispose of any waste that they have. The downside, you know, we talk about them having a closed system where they draw, you know, limits the amount of water that they use. Closed systems also draw more on the electricity. So, you know, if this is going to add to everybody's
Ms.
electrical
Smith,
bill,
if
and
you
we can
could
already
wrap it
see
up,
what
please.
it does.
Your time has expired. Thank
All right.
you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Just independent people and do it smart, because you only have one shot at this.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Dana Jones.
Morning.
I live in Sunderland. My family's been in this county since the 1770s. I attended public school here. I was a student who stayed home because we had a teacher strike here because we were the poorest county in the state of Maryland. And we had the poorest paid professional staff in the state of Maryland. If you check the census for this county from the 1800s, you'll find that Calvert County did not grow for nearly a whole century, from 1890 until 1960. We had basically the same number of deaths as we had new births. When the Ranch Club opened up, and later when the power plant was developed, our county started to grow. And the reason we grew was because we became a better place to live, because we had an economic engine that produced a tax base that allowed in 1972 for property taxes to be cut in half. We also saw with the construction of the nuclear power plant, jobs and people becoming first-time homeowners who never had had a union job before because Calvert County didn't have such things. I realize the concerns that everyone has, and I certainly understand them. But I also say to you this: you have a responsibility to create a viable economic future for this county. Don't miss your opportunity when a gift horse is looking you in the face. Do your job, limit risks, but do the right thing for this county. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Barbara Bowen, and I'm a lifetime resident of Calvert County. I came from the Chesapeake Beach area, and I've been 36 years in Lusby. You know, I'm one of the people that work with Save Lusby, and I run around trying to get money. And the people I talk to, half of them don't know that they're even going to be here, that the apartments are not going to be here. They don't know anything about it. You know, you get a few of them say, well, you know, it's not going to happen at Johnny Gott's. You know, they're going to have these apartments. We're not going to win this game. And we're in a game to win this. And another thing I want to know is, about your data centers, how are you going to advertise this? With that little paper that comes out from the little magazine, there's no advertisement to tell people what's going on. People do not even know now about the apartments. I got to go through the whole thing, explain it to them, you know. And I give them a flyer with an envelope already addressed. All you got to do is put your money in and send it for our attorney. And we're at the point now, it's going to be at the end probably, maybe. So we don't want that. We do not want these apartments. The same way with the gas plant. It was just pushed on it. It just pushed on it. You know, between the power plant and the gas plant, they own most of the coastline of Calvert County. They got a terrible amount of it. And there's not any reason for that. But you need to be able to advertise it, and I don't know how you're going to do it. When you're going to advertise the data centers, you didn't advertise the apartments. And it has to be done. Nobody wants this. Lusby does not want this. And if you get the first one in, it's liable to look like Prince Frederick. Prince Frederick is the mess. We just went over there to Aldi's. There's no place to park to go shopping. The parking lot, it's got about maybe 15 paces or something like that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Patrick Flaherty, Commissioner, District 1 Commissioner candidate. From last week's budget amendments, before you stroke a check for $5 million, you should provide the public with full transparency, the makes, models, and ages of the vehicles being replaced, who are the kind of be purchasing them from, will the replacements be like-for-like versions, if auctioned off or sold individually, what is the estimated amount of revenue that the county will realize to offset the expenditure of $4.6 million? Now, as far as I had a whole thing right up, but I'm gonna skip it. As far as the NDA and the data center, this board has had a year and a half at minimum knowledge of what was occurring. You signed an NDA 10 days after the zoning ordinance took effect in 2025. So what we're hearing today is a lot of backpedaling and CYAing, all right? So you really, public comment, the public meeting should definitely happen. And you have a lot of explaining to do at those meetings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Afternoon.
My name is Kenneth Lee. I live in Huntingtown, Maryland, and I have quite a bit of concerns about this data center as well. I'm totally against them. But I think the unwritten expectations, transparency, accountability, and the trust demand a higher standard than we're receiving right now. When a county executive or senior official signs an NDA, they're making the choice for us. And that's not to inform the public, not to brief the community, not to disclose early negotiations, and it's certainly not to be considered near critical areas. The question most people have is, why was an NDA signed? Who is the NDA with? Well, we know who it's with now. What is the information being withheld from us as citizens? What is the public impacts being discussed behind the closed doors? What is the timeline for the disclosure? These are questions that we all deserve answers to. You've had 2.5 years to get these answers to these data centers, and now you're wanting, since the community's kicking back, it's time to start looking into these things. I feel they should have been done 2.5 years ago. All this should have been looked into. Right now, we should be discussing what's going to happen next, and that's not the circumstances. So I think that you all ought to take a good look at yourselves, think about the community and the people you're serving, and do what's right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I wasn't prepared to speak. Patty Stuckler, running at-large county commissioner. I think it's a great question about advertising. If you're going to do the right thing, which is to actually get input from the public, the people who live here, the people who pay the taxes, then I would implore that not just the traditional means of advertising, like, excuse me, the maybe newspapers, very old school type of advertising. Where you're hearing all this information is social media. It needs to be blasted on social media for the entire county from each one of your accounts personally, as well as the county website, and encourage your people, the people that voted for you, the people who live in this county, encourage them to spread the word, to share the posts. That's how people will all know about this coming down the pike, and put it on their calendar and show up and say what they want to say, whether they want this or they don't want this, or what questions that they have that they want answers to.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Joe Cormier, and I'll be speaking on behalf of myself today. I want to start with a couple celebrations. My wife just ran another half marathon. High five for her. Today is my oldest son's birthday. He's turning 17, and he's got about little less than 250 days until the school bus stops coming. So we're really looking for what community resources are available after that. The governor just declared this Developmental Disabilities Month. The governor also cut the budget for developmental disability services. So left and right there. This is another emergency of your own making, commissioners. You're waving away the Opens Meeting Act requirements, and I don't understand why. I was notified of the Amazon job posting at 11 o'clock Sunday night and started posting about it, and I was shocked that you added it today because there's no notice. It doesn't make sense. You could have had this meeting if you wanted it, but you did it because your hand got stuck in the cookie jar. The NDA came to light, and Commissioner Hans, thank you for letting us know who was the redacted counterparty on that. When I requested the NDA, your former county attorney drug his feet to get it to me until after he left. So it just shows a pattern in this county of holding back information, and to sit there now and say, well, we didn't know. You knew, right? In researching the county website, I came across an email with a PDF that Jason Brinkley was on that knows that MDE was pulling permits, the Maryland Historical Inventory. I came up and read that to you. So you knew. It says on the Maryland Historical Inventory, Calvert County Data Center Campus. You knew. You can't sit up there and say you didn't know that they want to do something. You knew. So the best thing you can do on your way home today is stop by the Board of Elections and take your name off the ballot, because there's no way we can trust any of you going forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good afternoon. Barbara Warner. I just wanted to say, Commissioner Hart, you're in my district. Thank you for making that motion. And now we have an opportunity to say what we have to say, and thank everyone else for voting in that direction. So thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Jason Fowler. I'm speaking on behalf of myself this afternoon. I just wanted to say briefly, my family's been here almost, a little longer than the Jones clan, but since 1658. We've been here a long time. And what I would say is that transparency is important in government, but I also am an attorney, and I understand that NDAs are important for business decisions. So I do understand that there are semblances of when an NDA could be signed to protect corporate information. But the public also deserves opportunities to be included in information that affects their livelihood. And I think in this respect, you all have failed these people. I think we are in a very important crux in not only American history, but in the region when it comes to affordability. Most Americans cannot afford a $400 emergency, and my electric bills have doubled in 2 years. If they double again, which Virginia is expecting based on their data center usage, most Americans will not be able to afford to live. They will not be able to afford their basic necessities. So when we are making decisions about whether data centers should be here, whether or not they should be here, we need to understand whether or not people can afford to live here. That is something that I am very passionate about fixing. People that are on the bottom, that are scraping to get by, will live and die by the very decisions that you make. So I implore each of you to weigh these decisions with great, great care. Because if you don't, it is election season, and you will not be in these seats. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Madam Attorney, I'm going to go. Oh, sorry, Mr. Estes.
See, it's already beeping on you, Bob. Sorry, you're too slow, Bob.
You know you can't shut me up that easy. I'm going to have some.
Okay.
My name is Bob Estes, and I always like to have the Friends of Hunting Creek time span. I hope I don't need to use it. I desperately want to believe you all in terms of what you say and what you do. And I take great pride in the board that we have right now, but I also understand the frustration that people have when they don't know what's going on. I mean, you only know so much, and these data centers, it's not the first glance at it, it's not the second, it's every little detail, just like any complex system, which I'm quite familiar with from spacecraft to whatever. And it's tough because you aren't necessarily ready for that yet, but you will get ready. I tell people that you can, believe that this board wants to do the right thing. You're going to have to help me a whole lot by demonstrating that in a way that the public can understand. And I think you know that. But I'm behind you. Don't let me down. Because if you do, I'm going to be like Mr. Hart. He didn't like it when he got told the wrong things. And look at him now. He's maybe you don't like the way he speaks. Maybe you don't like the way he's showing what he believes. But that's what the public's going to be. If you want a whole public, just like Mike.
Sometimes
Well,
you
I
get
don't know.
education the hard way, isn't it, Bob?
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's enough of that. And I know NDAs too. I couldn't even tell you how many I had to have. But these companies, they work hard to have their particular niche in developing these things. Some of the things, it's live or die if they get their proprietary information, just thrown out there. There are ways to get around that a little bit by not saying too much, something that the public can understand. So I understand those, but you have to be careful because they can be abused. Hopefully you have not done that. Another topic. So I hear that the new rainfall, he can't hear me right now. Or you're hearing. Yeah, I know he's paying attention. We had, I guess, a little glitch in the process, and it looks like we're going to still get that done. And I hope we get it done before somebody comes up and proposes some sort of a, development or whatever, because that's the one thing that makes me worried. He and I don't talk every day, but I'm hoping that we're going to hear that these new numbers are going to be good. I'm still working on my stuff. It's still over 7,000 lines of data, and it gives me a headache. So, and I got to do my taxes just like everybody else. But we will depend on you to do what you know the public and what the commissioners want. I'm not you personally, but your whole department. Yeah. So anyway, that's probably enough for me for this time. I'll see you again next time.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Bob.
Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Anybody else in the audience?
Yeah, do we have anybody else in the audience making their way up to the mic? If not, I will switch over now to people online. Please raise your hand if you would like to give public comment. First person will be ending in 2706. Please unmute yourself at this time. Okay, I'll go to the next person. Last four digits, 4545. Please unmute yourself at this time.
Hey.
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, please state your name and where you're from.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Joshua Winburn. I'm sorry, my name and what else would you like?
You have to state your name, and are you going to be talking individually or with a group?
Yeah, just as an individual.
Perfect. Your time starts now.
Awesome. Hi, thank you very much for hearing me. I didn't realize you guys were talking about data centers. It's very crucial and important stuff, so please take it seriously. I have a very simple request. I'm largely a stay-at-home dad. I work per diem as a nurse, and we frequent the pools, the Edward T. Hall Aquatic Center, the King's Landing pool, and I don't know if you guys are familiar, but like the leisure pool and even King Landing, they don't open until they have ridiculous hours. So the leisure pool is largely not open until noon, and it's for little kids. And then it's open until 9 o'clock at night. So I don't know who's taking their children to the leisure pool after dinner during the week, but and also the King's Landing pool doesn't open until noon, and this is in the midst of the summer. So I've actually sent emails to many of the staff members. I think the manager of the Calvert, the Edward T. Hall Aquatic Center, and it's just fallen on deaf ears. And all I would ask is that they reevaluate the time. You know, I understand that budgets are tight, budgets are short, but certainly, you know, if you're going to open the pool, like the leisure pool, for instance, from 12 to 9, I think it'd be very reasonable to just, I don't know, shift it 2 hours or something like that. So I just ask that you guys apply a little bit of pressure, and maybe you guys could reevaluate how the hours are available, so that we can better utilize the resources that you guys so graciously maintain and take care of for us.
Thank you for your public comment.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Do we have any other callers at this time that would love to give public comment? Please raise your hand. Okay. Caller ID 2725, please unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Jessica McCoy, and I live in the Cove Point area of Lusby.
Okay, will you be speaking?
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you. Will you be speaking as a group or individually?
I'll be speaking individually, please.
Okay. I will start your timer now.
Okay. I understand that the data centers are often presented as symbols of economic growth and technological progress. In reality, they are a blatant strain on the already exhausted infrastructure of our communities. Data centers require enormous amounts of electricity and water, and we've already seen how other communities across the U.S. are deteriorating due to the data centers. Data centers create noise and disturb the natural environment, and there's limited local economic benefit. There are maybe 1 or 2 permanent workers, and whatever tax incentives and abatements associated with this choice do not benefit the community long term. You're selling the quality of life for your constituents and their children to support big business who do not care about our community. But the Calvert community sees you, and it is worth reminding you all that you are up for re-election this year, and we will remember these choices. That's all I have. Over.
Thank you for your public comment.
She said over.
Any other speakers at this time online? Please raise your hand.
My hand is raised.
Okay, can you please state your name? Caller ending in 2706. Okay, caller ending in 2725.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you please state, or afternoon, can you please state your name, and would you like to speak as a group or individually?
My name is Joe Young. I live up in Owings, and I'm speaking individually.
Perfect. I'll start your timer now.
Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. I want to go on record and speak to you about the large-scale data center development that appears to be progressing in our county. I have 3 main concerns that I urgently ask you to address on the public record and make sure we cover. The first is water. As other folks have mentioned, the Chesapeake Bay, from my understanding and from DNS, Maryland DNS information, Calvert Cliffs itself pulls about 3.5 billion gallons a day from the Chesapeake Bay for cooling. and then returns it back to the bay at about 12 degrees higher, which, can be harmful to the blue crabs and other bay species. So adding a co-located data center with its own enormous water demands would compound that damage directly and irreversibly. With all the fishermen and farmers that we have around this area, the Chesapeake Bay is the defining natural resource of this county and of this region. So no economic benefit that I see justifies putting that at further risk without deep analysis and research. I want to add to that, unconstrained data center growth throughout Virginia has now pushed a projection to demand more than 33% of the Potomac River Basin water by 2050. That's over 200 million gallons a day. So Calvert, needs to avoid contributing to that. I think others have already spoken about electricity rates and the prospect of sharply rising electricity bills as data centers place unprecedented demand on the regional grid. SMACO customers will feel that impact regardless of where the facilities are built, but a facility of this scale drawing as much power as 3 counties combined. Yeah, I said that right. 3 counties combined would be among the most consequential decisions this board has ever made for household energy costs before any approval moves forward. In addition, my third
Mr. Young, your
concern is
time has
forest and
expired.
land
If you could
destruction.
wrap it up, please. Your time has expired, Mr. Young. If you could wrap it up.
I will. I ask you to support the moratorium while a full environmental and economic review is independently conducted that is site-specific. Thank you for your time.
Okay, the next caller online ending in 2033. Please unmute yourself at this time and let me know your name, where you live, and if you will be speaking as a group or an individual. Okay, I will go to the next caller. Next caller is 2041. Please state your name. Oh, they just dropped off as well. Sorry about that.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Good afternoon. My name is Dan Sprayberry, and I'm here to speak for myself about the AWS data center in Lusby. I am a Calvert County resident of over 2 decades, a father of 2 small children being raised in St. Leonard, as well as an IT professional at Naval Air Station Pax River, who also holds an AWS certification for cloud computing. As a technical professional and a technology enthusiast, I am extremely familiar with the cost associated with feeding the data center machine that is AWS. And by cost, I don't mean dollars and cents. I mean the long-term effects of building an Amazon tax write-off in Lusby and what that will have on the residents of the county. As I'm sure the board is aware, the vast majority of the feedback on a potential data center in our county has been in the opposition category. The outcry has been so vocal that even the Board of County Commissioners publicly pulled out of the state's pilot program based on the feedback, or so we were told. Calvert County is a place where people move to live to be away from major infrastructure projects. While it may bring temporary jobs in construction to the area, many of those jobs will not go to Calvert County residents. It will go to companies and workers who are already involved in Amazon's data center operations in other areas of the DC metro, and bring commuters and traveling workers into our daily lives. The long-term job market for maintaining an AWS data center is shrinking every day as large tech companies such as Amazon push to remove human workers from both physical and technological maintenance and move toward automated and AI-powered solutions. What this means is that Calvert County residents will bear the brunt of the cost in infrastructure, water, electricity, and pollution of this data center while reaping almost zero benefits, if there even are any. We are in an artificial intelligence bubble. Anyone who looks at the money moving between the likes of OpenAI, NVIDIA, and AMD can see it. AWS very much has their hands deep into the AI ecosystem. When that bubble pops, and it will pop, we may be left with an enormous empty building that is a monument to that bubble that forever changes the landscape of Calvert County. The Board of County Commissioners allowing AWS to tear down more of Calvert County's natural beauty for a little extra cash in their pocket and an accomplishment on their resume is just selling out the folks.
Mr. Sprayberry, your time, please wrap it up. Your time has expired. Thank you.
Yep. Represent the people who live here, not lining your pockets. If there's anything to hide, you shouldn't be signing NDAs. NDAs are for keeping secrets. Public figures shouldn't be keeping secrets for trillion-dollar corporations. I'm done.
Okay, the next number online is 2706. Please unmute yourself at this time to give public comment.
Hey, I already went.
Okay.
So I'm good, but thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you. If you could remove your hand raised up, that would be great. Thank you. The next one online is ending in 3245. Please unmute yourself at this time and provide public comment. Caller 3245, please unmute yourself at this time if you would like to provide public comment. Okay, commissioners. There is nobody else with their hand raised.
Okay, so that takes us to Commissioner reports. Commissioner Grasso?
Okay. On February 25th, we had approximately 15 individuals come in and tour our building, and I'd like to thank JR for helping me out with that. We attended in Annapolis a Tri-County Council meeting at Calvert House, and this weekend Solomon's Volunteer Fire Department had their banquet. That's it.
Commissioner Hart?
Thank you, Mr. President. We had, I believe, was the 10th annual duck race. I believe 10. And Parks and Rec nails it. They really do. This year we got 1,002 ducks. That was a record. $7,000 in donations to help children go to summer camp programs that they may not be able to afford to go to.
It was over 8,000.
Yeah.
Did it hit over 8? Okay, it was
Update.
7 when I left to get down to go to Solomon, so it was 7. Wow, so that's really awesome. And Parks and Rec is phenomenal. They're so cool. I mean, they really do such a good job with the kids and with the families and stuff there. And then it was the 71st Solomon's Firehouse Banquet. We were all at that. Just a lot of memories with those folks, and I thought they did a great job recognizing new folks that have come out to volunteer, and some that aren't with us anymore, and some that are still there trying to teach, and they're just great people, and you really can't thank them enough for what they do for us every day. So that was a really nice event, and that's it.
Commissioner Haynes?
Thank you. So last Thursday night, we went to the Southern Maryland reception in Annapolis. Like a lot of other events, it's shrinking, and they had to move to a new location that would accommodate a smaller crowd. The good news is they made money this year. They've been losing money the last couple of years, but it's a good opportunity to get to see your legislative representatives and have some conversation. Saturday morning, I went to see the viewing of Grandma's Hands at the Prince Rake Library. It's probably about 20 or 25 people there. If you've never seen that documentary, it was produced right here in Southern Maryland about grandmas, and the things that you remember most about them is their cooking skills. So unfortunately, I couldn't stay for the discussion, but afterwards they had a discussion about people's memories of their grandmothers in the kitchens, and sorry I had to miss that. But and I was too at Solomon's Fire Department banquet Saturday night. Great group of volunteers we have here in Calvert County. It's their one opportunity during the year to recognize each other for the great accomplishments that they've done during the year, and it was good to see those young people involved. I think right now North Beach Fire Department has the best group of young people involved in their firehouse. They've got about 25 or 30 young kids in their cadets, and it's absolutely amazing. So just good to be out with the firehouses, and we're in that time of year. I think this Saturday night we're at St. Leonard's. I think this Saturday night. Yeah.
Where are you at Prince Frederick? I know you and Todd have something at Prince Frederick Fire Hall. Is that this weekend?
Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, this coming Saturday morning. Yeah.
So speaking of firehouses, that's all.
We usually don't announce those from here, but so yeah. And look, we've been as frustrated as you all about the DNA. It was just something that just a part of The NDA, I'm sorry. Sorry. And, you know, other than the name, the client, we don't know. You know, we don't know what the project is. That's between them and Constellation. You know, and we did reach out after the posting everybody saw online about a job opening. We were surprised to see that ourselves, and asked if they would come in today. I know it was quick, but just trying to, you know, get their name out because, you know, I understand the frustration of individuals. It's as frustrating for us to hold back as it is for you not knowing. But until they actually have a project to talk about, that was the line of my question for Commissioner Hart's motion was, until they have a project to actually talk about, I don't know how we talk about the impacts if we don't know what it is. So until they're ready to have something that they can talk about, but we certainly don't want to keep you all in the dark. It's not, you know, Commissioner Grasso talked about her stress. It bothers me as much as it does her. You know, we're trying to be open, and as transparent as we can be, but just in this situation, it was an opportunity where we just couldn't say no. You know, we had to at least give them the opportunity to work forward to see if a project's going to happen or not. It appears that something is probably going to happen when you see the job listing, but you know, I can assure you we're going to do the best we can to share whenever they have something to put on the table. We're going to do our best to share that and answer every question you have. We've just unfortunate, but you know, I'm sure, as Commissioner Arlen mentioned, when they built that nuclear power plant, it was a challenging decision for that board to bring a nuclear power plant into Calvert County. Because if you think back at that time frame, people were scared to death of nuclear, didn't understand it, but that project, as Commissioner Arlen alluded to, changed this county forever, for the good. Because when I was in the school system here, it was the worst in the state, and that board had the foresight to invest money in education, and we've quickly, over time, gone to the top, and we're still trying to maintain that status of being at the top. And you all know the budget challenges that we've faced. So, you know, when somebody comes in and says they may have a project that can add revenue, you know, we couldn't just shut the door. You know, we're just trying to do our due diligence. Whether it happens or not, I don't know. But at least we had to allow an opportunity. And the parameters of that was that, at least for an initial exploration, that we couldn't share the information of who it was. Not what the project is, but because it's no secret. There's no secret. There was legislation 2 years ago to stop Constellation from bringing a data center on that property. So it's not like nobody knew Constellation wasn't out looking. And our NDA only covered the name of the client that they've been working with now for 2 years, trying to get a project together. So, you know, I certainly apologize for that, but, you know, we're just dealing with information. As I tell everybody, you know, they criticize the decisions we make. We make the decisions, at least I have faith that the five of us make decisions that we believe are in the best interest of Calvert County based on the information we have at the time. And it's a challenging job, and you just do the best you can with the information that you have. So that's all I have to say, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ralph Cranford passed away. Prayers for his family. He was actually the very first Buildings and Grounds Division Chief for Calvert County. Company 3's banquet, as everybody talked about, you know, there was a lot of young volunteerism there, which is good to see because volunteerism is a challenge. As you know, we're supplementing our volunteer EMS side of things nowadays with paid, and it's constantly growing. So it's good to see the volunteers, the young volunteers out there. Went to Tri-County Council in Annapolis, their reception on the 26th. A lot of familiar faces there. I'm glad to hear that they actually made money. I hadn't heard that. Happy 80th birthday to Mr. Terry Gibson. Commissioner Cox, again, was in a recertification class. He wanted to be here with us today, but he couldn't. Apparently, it was the only time it's offered for the whole year. County website was updated yesterday for our data center FAQs. much of what I've read through today is included in that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, by all means, we're always encouraging public feedback for that type of things. But like I said, there's some facts on there. And hopefully some misinformation was cleared up today that's been out here on social media. It's definitely a challenge. It is, without a doubt. I mean, a lot of people get behind keyboards and say what they want to say when they want to say it, which I don't have a problem with if it's truth. If it's factual information, I'm all about it. But unfortunately, that's not always the case. That's all I have.
Oh, I'm doing a motion. Okay. Okay, I move that we recess to closed session pursuant to general provisions, Article Section 3-305. 1, B4, to consider a matter that concerns the proposal for a business or industrial organization to locate, expand, or remain in the state. 2, B13, to comply with the specific constitutional, statutory, or judicially imposed requirement that prevents public disclosures about a particular proceeding or matter.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to move into closed session pursuant to what Commissioner Grasso just read. Any discussion?
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you all for your attendance. Thank you for your comment today. It's the most public comment we've had in 3 years.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
We appreciate it.